nights. We're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto. Shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network, giving you the power to prosper. Weekdays, it's Markets Now on Fox Business.
Big sales for automakers. We will indeed see some reaction down here. We've got the numbers.
Look at some of the winners and losers in the market.
Tracking every trade, watching every sector.
The stock's actually at an all-time high.
U.S. manufacturing continued to expand.
Minute by minute, Markets Now is your source for real-time business news.
Gold and silver dropping like lead balloons today.
You still can find some opportunities.
Only one network has the pulse across the financial world. Fox Business, the power to prosper.
Health officials in eastern Pakistan are investigating at least 33 deaths from cough syrup the last 3 days to find out if there was something wrong with it or if everybody just drank too much to get high. Stuff still moving in and out of ports from Maine to Texas with the strike avoided for now.
Both the International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime Alliance will still be working on a new labor agreement, but they did agree to an extension Friday, one that runs out on February 6th. Fear of a strike if they didn't reach terms today had government officials claiming a halt of work at 15 seaports would cripple the U.S. economy to the tune of $1 billion a day. The extension handshake comes after a day's worth of work by a federal mediator, and with both sides reaching an agreement on shipping container royalty fees for dock workers.
Fox News Radio's Evan Brown in Miami. The case of the Christmas Eve arson in Webster, New York, where 2 firefighters were shot to death, does not end with that gunman's suicide.
Authorities arrested 24-year-old Dawn Nguyen. Western New York's U.S. Attorney William Hochul says she's been charged with lying about how convicted felon William Spangler got 2 of the guns he had. He used them to shoot 2 firefighters to death, wound 2 others, and kill himself.
Dawn Nguyen told the seller of these guns that she was to be the true owner and buyer of the guns instead of William Spangler.
He says Spangler himself indicated as such in his suicide note, adding that Nguyen used to be Spangler's neighbor. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News Radio.
Snow in the forecast for West Virginia up through New England.
1 to 3 inches from cities like Columbus, then into Pittsburgh. New York City picking up a quick 1 to 3 inches through the afternoon here when that snow arrives. As that storm rapidly strengthens off the coast, snow will intensify as we head through the day, and then especially coastal New England, Cape Cod to Boston, that's where we could pick up snow in the 3 to 6 inch range.
That's AccuWeather meteorologist Jim Dickey, and I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
This is Jana with Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains and invite you to test drive a new Dodge Dart. The Dart is loaded with innovative technology, class-leading safety features, and clever functionality. The new Dodge Dart sets a new standard in the compact car segment by offering unmatched personalization, roominess, style, functionality, and fun-to-drive dynamics. We have them now at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, during the big finish of 2012, where buying a vehicle is simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 33. Tonight, clear skies, a low around 18 degrees. And then on Sunday tomorrow, sunny with a high near 40. And then Sunday night, we have a low around 28. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
Well, good morning. Apparently, we don't have a bumper this morning. Interesting. You are listening to America's Voice. My name is Mike Evans. Thank you for being with us this morning. Current time is 6:06 a.m. And we are going to have a pretty interesting show today. We are going to have a couple of ladies on the line with us later this morning. They have a rather interesting website. They go by the name of Chicks on the Right, and their their mantra is because conservatism needs a makeover. I absolutely love that. They are two gals that have determined that our nation is coming apart at the seams. They are conservative in their thinking and really just kind of want to change the nature and the view that most Americans have of the conservative female perspective. So, as is typical, you get onto their website or you get onto their Facebook page, and there's all kinds of leftist nonsense up there, like immediately calling them sexist and racist. How can you be sexist if you're a woman? I just don't get it. Anyway, you're welcome to visit their website, and I would encourage you to do that and learn about these ladies, because you may want to call in with a good question for them. You can find them at chicksontheright.com. You can also find them on Facebook at facebook.com/chicksontheright. Real easy, real simple. If you'd like to capture our show streaming, you're certainly welcome to do that. You can join us at americasvoicenow.org. You can find us on facebook.com/americasvoicenow. And you can also find us on youtube.com/americasvoicenow. I did an interview last night with Cope Reynolds. He was the gentleman from the Southwest Shooting Authority that we had previously on our show. And he was kind enough to invite me onto his show and have an opportunity to speak with his audience. And we had quite a conversation yesterday. So I'll be trying to get a copy of that and post that up on our site when we have it, or up on YouTube, so that our listeners can capture it as well. There are some news stories out this morning that I want to kind of bring to our attention. The issues of where we are right now in terms of the fiscal cliff are fairly apparent in the sense that it's pretty much everyone's idea that we are going to go over the cliff at this point. It doesn't appear as if the Senate and or Congress and or the President can collectively get their act together enough to prevent America from descending into tyranny, quite frankly. And so I find it, on a personal level, I find that discouraging and disturbing. Apparently, the government doesn't necessarily agree. They seem to think that it's okay for us to go over that way. Apparently, the president, in his infinite, I find it disturbing, in his infinite wisdom, has determined that it's okay to give a pay raise to Biden and members of Congress and federal workers. He has, under executive order, again, determined that he is going to give a raise to those folks. And both the vice president, all the senators, all the members of the House of Representatives, as well as a host of other individuals, including all of the Supreme Court justices, as well as all circuit and district and associate judges, will be receiving a nice, healthy 0.5% raise. It doesn't amount to much, maybe $1,000 a year kind of thing. However, the net cost to us as taxpayers is $1 billion a year. Now, when we are in a position where we are losing money hand over foot, left and right, and we are about to go into a scenario where we are going to see our taxes raised, where we are going to find jobs lost in the millions, where we are about to get hit with all new taxes for the Obamacare health program, and I just don't see this. I consider this bad form. And, it's disturbing that he would do this. And quite honestly, what's more disturbing is that the press isn't even talking about it. I am so tired of the cover that they have given to this charlatan for the last couple of years. I just don't know where to go with it anymore. It was at one point the concept that the press was a watchdog for the people, to monitor government and make sure that government was not abusing its authority and privilege. And yet, it's very apparent to me and it should be to you as well, that they have abdicated their responsibility to the citizens of the country to really truthfully enable us to understand what's happening in government. They are not impartial. They are extraordinarily biased. They are in favor of everything and anything that this president and this administration does, irrespective of whether it's lawful, good for America, bad for America, whatever. If it's bad for America, they just don't talk about it and inform us. If it's good for America, they and honestly, I can't honestly say that there's been many things that have been done by this administration that are good. I'll give you an example. The president and the Senate just, I shouldn't say the president. The Senate just approved, again, a renewal of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Now, this is an act which allows the government to legally spy on any and all Americans who may have a communication or conversation overseas, either electronically or otherwise. So if you call anyone overseas and you use a telephone or text messaging or a cell phone or Skype or any other method, they can monitor and actively capture your information. That can also then lead to giving them the capabilities to monitor you domestically if all they have to say is, well, we suspect that he may be doing something that's terrorist in its form. And so the Senate passed the now, and this is, there was a lot of pushback against this thing being renewed the way it is, because there's absolutely zero oversight. Right now, the surveillance mechanisms out there can monitor Americans with almost no recrimination or recourse. You have no idea that it's being done. There is no one looking over their shoulder and saying, hey, should you really be doing this? Is this legal? Or is this a real suspect, or are you just capturing information for the sake of capturing information to be able to store this and later use it against an individual should we have some design on him? And so unconscionably, our Congress, or our Senate, I should say, voted 73-23 to extend this law. Now, there were two amendments that came up, and the purpose of these amendments was to trim down and to put some kind of reins on this action. And one was that the surveillance requests had to disclose important rulings of law. Now, that was submitted by Jeff Merkley in Oregon, and it failed, 37-54. And the second one would have required the government to estimate the number of U.S. citizens that it had spied on, and that fell, of course, and failed as well by 43-52. So what I find the most astounding about this is not that those two amendments failed, because our government is clearly working for the destruction of our nation. What I find the most interesting is that one of the senators, a gentleman by the name of Richardson, had the incredible audacity. This is Michelle, and I apologize, it's not a man, it's a woman. It's Michelle Richardson, and she is an ACLU expert. Now, here was her comments. We're incredibly disappointed, not just that it passed, but that they rejected some very moderate amendments that wouldn't have interfered with the collection of intelligence. Now, that's Michelle Richardson from the ACLU. She's an expert, again, on surveillance issues. She went on to say, and this is the part that I find very disturbing, we're actually pleased that so many Senate members today want more transparency, pointing to 43 votes for Wyden on his amendment. Quote, there were more members voting for transparency and accountability than there were in 2008. The amendments did better this time. Now, if you just look at this on its face, what she's saying is that they renewed this, by the way, for 5 years. So in 5 more years, we're going to try for a little bit of transparency. And she's impressed with the fact that the amendments, while they failed, got more votes this time than they did last time. That's kind of like saying, I'm a medical doctor, and I have a man in front of me who is bleeding to death, and the main artery, which I can clearly see, which needs to be sealed, I'm going to bypass that for a moment, and I'm going to focus here on this scratch on his forehead and make sure that I put a butterfly bandage on there because I don't want him to have a scar. It is beyond my comprehension. There is clearly no focus on the value and the rule of law any longer in our nation. Our Congress has abandoned the rule of law 100% in favor of tyranny. Our Senate and our House. By the way, the President will sign this bill because the House has already passed it. Now, the House is a conservative, theoretically, a conservative stronghold. They have a majority, and yet they have absolutely abdicated and abandoned all rule of law and any semblance thereof. It's beyond my understanding how these people can actually sit there in Congress and declare themselves to be, one, a conservative, and two, a true arbiter and defender of liberty, when they allow our government to tread on our Constitution with spiked boots and then look at us and tell us it's for our own good. I am so appalled and so ashamed of where we are right now. I am ashamed to be called an American, because what it means when you say that you're an American is that you stand for the rule of law, that you stand for law and order, that you stand for the rights of the individual, that those are supreme above and beyond all other issues. What it means when you say that you're an American is that you believe in all people being equal under the law, not equal in their skills, not equal in their talents, not equal in their gifts, but equal under the law. So when two people commit a crime, whether their father or their brother or they have a large bank account, both are handled in the same format. And that's not the case. We know that to be a fact. If your daddy's a congressman or a senator, you got a big bank account, you can hire a fancy lawyer and get you out almost anything. You can buy off judges, you can buy off anything you want in this country as long as you've got some money. Or, unless you've got some political pull. In either event, no one in our nation has or deals with a rule of law that is fairly and equally applied. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we can talk further about this. We'll open up our telephone lines. Our phone lines are sponsored, of course, this morning and all mornings by Jason over at Wits End Hair Barbershop, and we'll be back in just a moment. Okay, here we go again. We've got a problem on the automation machine, and so I'm just going to work around it. It is apparent, and it should be to anyone to look at all, that we have completely lost our focus as a nation and as an electorate and as individual citizens. You've heard me say before that our generation will go down as the stupidest generation, unlike our fathers and our mothers and our grandfathers, who were known as the greatest generation, because we have allowed, and for all intents and purposes, we have encouraged the loss of not only sovereignty as individuals, but also we have given up the rule of law in favor of personal aggrandizement or personal benefit. We have succumbed to the lure of treasonous action on the part of each and every individual in our nation. If you were voting out of your pocket instead of out of your heart, then you have succumbed to exactly what we stand against. It's that simple. If you're voting because it will mean that you get a greater share of a welfare check or a food stamp check or a benefit in some archaic manner, health care, or any of the other bennies that are out there. If you're voting for Social Security money, if you're voting for Medicaid, if you're voting for Medicare, you're voting against our nation, Because the simple truth is, we don't have the money. It's that simple. Now, a lot of you may disagree with what I'm saying, and if you do, please feel free to call me. I'm always welcome I'm always pleased to talk to individuals who disagree with me. But the simple reality is this. We, for too long, have lived beyond our means. Economically, fiscally, we are beyond salvage. We have a $16 trillion debt we can't even hope to pay back. We have a government which intends, for all intents and purposes, and has pretty much clearly made the numbers known to us, that they intend to saddle us with an additional $5 trillion debt in addition to the $5 or $6 trillion debt that this president has already incurred, and he intends to incur another $5 trillion over the course of the next 4 years. That will mean that this president single-handedly has incurred more debt than all other presidents in all known history before him. In fact, he's already exceeded that. But he will have doubled the debt, literally, single-handedly. We've already spent some $4 trillion on poverty, in our war on poverty. And yet, our poverty numbers have not moved. Not one single 0.00 percent point. Not 1/100th of a percent. Can you believe that? After spending $4 trillion, we cannot show one single benefit. Now, how does that work? I mean, at what point do we begin to recognize that we have basically lost our government? Lost our nation. Where do we stand? I mean, how do we move forward? How do we move forward like this? We can't continue this process. It just doesn't make sense. Realistically, economically, we are finished. We are living in a home that we have not paid for in a year and a half. We are outside of the scope of what can be accomplished where we can try to recover that debt. In other words, we've allowed the mortgage to get so far behind that there's just no way for us to be able to restore it. And so what we find is a situation where we're complaining that we're being kicked out of our home, but we haven't paid for it in a year and a half. And instead of putting that mortgage money aside that we would normally have paid our bills with, we've frittered and wasted it away. We've spent it on parties and gewgaws and doodads and having fun. We've drank a lot of beer, had a big party, had all kinds of decorations, but we don't have a thing to show for it. We've got a headache, but that's about it. And for all intents and purposes, we have allowed our nation to succumb to right now what constitutes government terrorism. We are being terrorized by our own nation. We are being terrorized by our government. We are under surveillance in every facet of our lives. This radio station, this discussion we're having this morning is being recorded. The phone call you made to your sister last night was monitored, recorded, and stored for later observation and potential use against you. Remember the phrase, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law? Let me tell you, they are now monitoring everything you say. They are monitoring every communication you make. They are monitoring every television show you watch. They are monitoring everything you purchase in the store. And how do I know that? Well, Google has just announced that they are going to merge your offline database with your online database. And Google is owned in part by the NSA. So they now know what you do online, and they're tying that to what you do offline. So they know that you went in to the Walmart and bought a group of products, whatever they may be, from toilet paper to blue jeans. They know everything about you. They know your habits. They know where you go, how you get there, where you come from, who you consort with. They look at your Facebook page and they know every friend that you have. You see, is this beginning to sink into you? What is really truly happening in our nation? Oliver Stone came out the other day and said that we live in an Orwellian surveillance society. Now, Oliver Stone is a conspiracy theorist. There's no denying that, and I agree with his statement. I don't agree with everything the guy stands for, but in this case, I agree with that statement. We are 1984, except it's 2013. Everything that you do, everything except your private thoughts, is known, captured, monitored, and then saved for later dissemination. Why? Well, because when the purges begin, they're going to have a need to have information as to who they want to go after first. And they're not going to do it in the format that the old communists did it, where they just go after the professors first and the religious leaders, although that will occur. But their goals today will be different. They will go after individuals who have expressed dissatisfaction and have spoken out against our government. And even when you've done it in private to your brother on the phone, they will know. They are already implementing surveillance systems in every major city in the United States and most minor cities. There are cameras up all over the place. There are now cameras and microphones in public buses, folks, so that they can monitor your conversations in the bus. And they now want to take away your ability to defend yourself against a government in tyranny. Now, that ought to pretty much tell you everything that you need to know, because we've seen historically that every time that a government disarms its individual populace, inevitably, in every single instance, there happens to be a totalitarian coup by the government over the people. Every time. It's not optional. It's not questionable. Facts back it up. Every single government that has disarmed its citizenry has become totalitarian. Now, you'll have Feinstein out there and others that will, swear up and down that's not their intent. I don't believe that. And I don't believe it because I've seen lots and lots and lots of proof that that's not the truth. And you will too.
Let's face it, in life there is no free lunch.
Are you prepared?
Do you have a plan? Who can you trust?
You can trust the NFCC, the nation's largest nonprofit network of credit counseling and financial education organizations. Our certified professionals will help you learn basic financial skills and give you the tools to meet financial challenges with confidence. Come learn with us at nfcc.org.
It's your money. Get smart about it.
A public service from the NFCC.
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Without a deal, we're 4 days from going over the fiscal cliff, which could mean big changes for some taxpayers.
If tax rates return to 2001 levels, the Tax Policy Center says 88% of taxpayers will be hit, on average, by about $3,500. That's because, in addition to tax rates, other popular deductions are set to sunset.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern. The Senate says yes to a $60 billion aid package for Hurricane Sandy victims. To pass, the House will need to do the same. And new charges in New Delhi, India, after a woman beaten and gang raped on a bus 2 weeks ago dies.
The fact that she was thrown from the bus whilst it was still moving and was unconscious suggests that they're fairly confident now that there was premeditation. The 6 attackers have now all been charged with murder.
Sky News correspondent Alex Rossi in New Delhi, India. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The big finish of 2012 is going on now at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Come experience the new Dart Limited Sedan 6-speed automatic. The new 2013 Dodge Dart redefines performance with Alfa Romeo DNA, fuel-efficient powertrains, and Dodge's passion for performance. The all-new Dodge Dart is a thoroughly modern vehicle that's beautifully designed and crafted, agile and fun to drive, and available with a turbo. Check one out today at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 33. Tonight, clear skies, a low around 18 degrees. And then on Sunday tomorrow, sunny with a high near 40. And then Sunday night, we have a low around 28. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
A mass murdering animal was loose in an elementary school. He murdered 20 little kids. I mean little kids, kindergarten kids, and his mother, and 6 teachers and administrators who were no doubt trying to protect them. And right away, we have to get into this crap about gun control? Like that would fix it?
No, doesn't fix anything.
Mark Levin is on the radio.
Mark Levin, weekday nights, 5 until 8 on 107.1 The Point.
Papi, walking around our block is like walking around the world.
How do you mean?
My friend Kayla's from India, Lily's from China, and Basa's from Ethiopia.
We're lucky we live in a diverse community where people from different backgrounds live in the same neighborhood.
I like it.
To learn more about how the Fair Housing Act promotes diversity, visit hud.gov/fairhousing. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, and familial status. A message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
All right, we're back. Welcome to the show call. Okay, he couldn't wait. Sorry, guy, but commercials have to be played. And so you just, that's the way it works. Call any national radio show, you'll stay on hold for 20 minutes. Hey, I find it disturbing that we are basically being played for the fools that we are. That we don't stand up and fight back against this tyranny in a way that will actually make a difference. I believe that frankly, the American population, and I'm not quite sure how best to organize this. I get the fact that it's very difficult to accomplish. But, this situation should simply be one where we are marching on Washington with pitchforks and torches. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Mike, they turned us off. I did.
Okay.
Okay, but first thing is I heard today on Coast to Coast this morning that had them cameras in Springfield already, what you're talking about, them high recognition cameras were already in place in Springfield on the city streets. But the second thing I'm talking about is that the gun registration.
Yeah.
They already more or less have an idea of that because when you buy your hunting license, they know you use a gun. When you buy your tags, your turkey tags and your deer tags, they know you use a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a subscriber to NRA, the post office carries the mail, so I'm sure they know they mail to via the post office, because that's public information. So they already have an idea who has the guns. They just don't know how many, and you buy a gun, they know which one you bought. And so the main thing now is that they want to pass the law on the where you can't have them, you have to turn them in. And also, I understand on the health care law that way down in there that if you opt out and pay the penalty, that you become a convicted felon and have to give up your guns.
I've not heard that aspect of it, but I absolutely, they can't do that because it's, there are actually no penalties. In fact, I would almost tell you right now that is not true, wherever you heard that. Because I
kind of gathered it, but the rest of it is all true. They already have their list, really.
Oh, listen, they've been building dossiers on us for decades. So, you're absolutely right. And they do know who's gotten hunting licenses, and they do know that when you purchased a weapon, if you purchased it at a store, they know that you purchased it. They may not necessarily know what you got, but that information is available to them. All they'd have to do is go into every gun store that is a legal dealer and capture their logbook and then enter that data into a database. So then they'd know the make, model, and serial number of whatever you purchased. So, you're absolutely correct. Listen, the fact of the matter is, worrying about the details is really not what's important, because we already know that the details are actually heinous on their face. They're horrendous in the sense that we have already, there's so much information out there on us already that they already know everything about you. Literally, they know down to whether you prefer boxers or briefs and what color stripes you like on your socks.
Yeah, they just turned us off a second ago, so they know everything.
Well, I don't know that I'd go there. I mean, that the phone system may have just dropped you by mistake, but I don't want to wear a tinfoil hat. But I do want to be realistic and understanding and recognizing that they already do have a dossier on everyone already.
Oh yeah.
And while it may be more complete on one person than another, the simple truth is that they already have it. We know about it, and it's now, we've lost control, folks. You know what this is like? This is like walking a Great Dane down the road, and the dog just decides to take off, and it's bigger than we can handle. It's like sitting there trying to control a horse who weighs 5 or 8 times what we weigh, and if that horse wants to run, there's damn near nothing we can do to stop it. And that's essentially where we are. We have allowed our government to become so big and so onerous, it's like we're sitting there as an elephant trainer. And that if that elephant decides to rear up and stomp on us, there ain't a damn thing we can do about it. Really. And honestly, we've allowed ourselves to be placed into this position for whatever stupidity and ignorance and apathy is causing it. I can't even express all that. I can only say that it's here, and those of us who are willing to recognize it are going to have to take some action at some point. Now, whether that takes the form of, you being prepared in terms of having food and shelter and the ability to take care of your family, I don't know what it's going to take. I really don't know. My crystal ball is broken on this, but I can tell you one thing. The crystal ball may be broken on the details, but the outcome is defined. We already know what it is.
Yeah, you can always eat the food.
Absolutely. That's why I say to people all the time, store food away. Even if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wearing a tinfoil hat and I got a propeller on top of it, and you think I'm wrong, the worst case scenario is you eat that food 6 months or a year or 2 years down the road. And guess what? Every year that food sits in your pantry, you're earning 20% on the investment.
Yes, sir.
So, hey, listen, thanks for the call. I appreciate you.
You bet.
Have a great day. So, the issue, folks, is that when we talk about self-reliance and putting away food and things like that for later times, and it doesn't have to be food. It could be something like soap, right? Prices go up. Inflation is a fact of life. It's been a fact of life, and as the dollar, gets crushed, the inflation gets higher and higher and higher. Right now, there are numerous studies out there that will tell us that storing products for future use earns you somewhere close to about 20 points a year. I mean, them's the facts, folks. You can pretend otherwise, but if you want to ignore reality, you can, but you can't ignore the consequence of reality. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, I'm just a little embarrassed because you have a bigger tinfoil hat with a bigger propeller than I do.
Well, the simple reality is that I don't believe my hat is tin.
I think what you're saying on the food is so correct, and people are so disconnected from reality, me included. But this $6 and $8 a gallon milk proves it.
Hey, you know what? They're talking about trying to fix that, but and they may not be able to in time.
Well, that's what the grasp of reality is. They did that as a media scare to put pressure on Congress.
Right. To cut a deal.
Well, to cut a deal so that the processors would have a steady supply of a commodity, cheap milk. The farmers would be much better off without USDA number crunching, without USDA setting prices through the old federal order system that was brought into being in the 40s when there were thousands upon thousands of dairies. And now there are 1,200 dairies, actually 900. We lost another 400 just recently. So we got everything on the books is old.
All right.
And it's outdated. And,
how many dairies are there in the country?
I'm not really. I keep up with Missouri. We've lost a third of dairies in Missouri since '92.
Why?
And because academia and USDA have told us to get bigger, get more efficient, or get out.
So is it that dairies are swallowing other dairies and becoming conglomerates, or is it that they're just going out of business and going and taking a day job?
That's what's interesting, both. To about a year and a half ago, it was the same amount of milk being produced because a smaller dairy would go out, the neighbor would buy the cows, the pounds of milk would actually go up because that other dairy was probably a better manager.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's not enough rookies left. There's not enough banks left.
Right.
So
at some point, you run out of poorly managed farms.
Exactly. And then the ones that are bleeding are good. And I'll get off of here, but the best story I've heard is a guy that sells me bull semen. He's an AI salesman. We buy good genetics. And he said in Arizona, there's a rep. There's 33 dairies on one stretch. And 26 of those dairies, they're huge. 26 of those dairies are in bankruptcy.
Wow.
So, America, is it too late?
No, buy a cow now.
Well, and it's going to be the most efficient conversion of protein and energy, and I completely understand that. Milk might be a convenience. I'll grant that. But I think...
Right, I agree. It's not a staple of life, but it is nice for us to have, and we all enjoy it. And it is used a lot in cooking and things like that. And
well, but to the bigger point, when you walk into Hy-Vee or a Super Center, a box, and you go down the dairy aisle, and I'm very familiar with dairy, it's an illusion. Those products are priced less than the cost of production. So let's get out the tin hat and the propeller again. What if?
Why would they do that? I don't understand the idea of the government subsidizing something just to drive the price of it down. When fair competition would accomplish that in a better way at less cost to the taxpayer.
Agreed. But here's and it's kind of a conspiracy, if you would, but it is easier to control and regulate one farmer than 1,000 farms. And
so their idea is to force the farms to co-join so that you are only dealing with 10,000 dairies instead of 75,000 dairies. Is that the theory?
That is the theory. When it's interesting.
So basically, they want a crap load of ConAgra dairy farms.
Yes.
And Monsanto dairy farms so that they can focus their efforts with 10 megalithic dairy farms versus 150,000 little Tom, Dick, and Harrys.
Exactly. And it did go back in my little hillbilly mind when Ronald Reagan was shot. The first bill that he signed when he was in his hospital bed was to take all of ag commodities off of parity. And
off of parity, explain that.
Parity is USDA's formula of figuring a cost of living adjuster, say 1.5% every year. So they took that out of the equation. And what that did, it forced people to get bigger to spread costs over more cows.
But why not just allow the market to bear, the free market to operate where if milk is at a high price, more people will go into the marketplace because they'll see a profitability area, they'll see a profitability opportunity, and then the price will naturally come down. And at some point, like all rising tides, it balances itself out. It will level itself off. Water in a lake is uniquely even level across the surface. And you can't have a wave that lasts perpetually. It can only be there for a short time until eventually the lake, becomes a level playing field. In industry, when you talk about products where there's a big profitability, and you don't have to look far to see this example. You can use electronics as the example. When televisions used to cost us $1,000 for a TV, right? Now, TVs are cheap. Why? Well, because a lot of other people got into the money-making business of building TVs because they said, hey, there's an enormous amount of money in this. And so what happened is competition drove the price down, which ultimately ended up being a positive thing for the consumer. Now, I don't understand why government insists on trying to constantly stick their finger or something else into every industrial area of our lives to try to manage what the free market will do in a better fashion with more even distribution and a better end result and for a whole lot cheaper for the average taxpayer.
It makes sense, and I'm going to give you one reality dairy story, and then I'm going to get off here. But I got some friends in California, and they manage, say, 10,000 cows. And on the balance sheet, the bank looks at those cows as an asset. So they were processing their milk, they sent them out a letter and said, you need to cut your production by 10%. So it was 10,000 cows. They culled 1,000 cows. They got down to 9,000 cows. What is fascinating about being faster, smarter, and stronger is it wasn't 3 or 4 weeks, and those 9,000 cows were producing more milk than the 10,000 cows before. And you ask yourself why. They were getting better care. There was more space. The better feed. They grouped cows better. Your labor was focusing in on the top cows instead of meandering around like we humans seem to do. It's
what I don't understand is who dictates that you can't have 10,000 cows. That's too many. I mean, forget the results because, while I understand the results, and I guarantee you they were unintended consequences of the USDA's action, and I'm assuming the USDA is the one who told them to cut their herd, right?
Well, it was actually, here's the problem. There was not enough room to process the milk. California is kind of its own little world. They are not
You're kidding, not California.
They're fruits and nuts. They don't spend near enough time in the bathroom. They don't have they got too much fiber in their diet. They don't think. But their processors, there's not enough room for processing. There's only, it's kind of scary. Like there's 20 some processing facilities in Missouri. Missouri doesn't produce enough milk to run those processing plants at capacity. So they bring milk in from the west, those larger mega dairies. And the dairies that are here in the southeast actually pay the haul bill to get that milk in here. It's completely...
How convoluted.
Oh, it's crazy. And a guy who's listening to this, is going to turn me off and goes, that's not it, that's just crazy. Yeah, it's... when the last dairy leaves here, he's going to have, if things don't change, and we could change it in our own co-op, but he's going to have a huge haul bill for bringing milk in. Instead of paying him more, him adding cows, adding production in the southeast, our powers that be, our co-ops, and partly the government credits that they pay to transport milk, they are going to bring milk in instead of producing it here. But Mike, I'm going to get out of here. It's fascinating, but folks, your food is not as secure as what you might think it is.
No farmers, no food.
Over and out.
Hey, have a great day. To me, I just don't understand, other than the dominating control factor, what government possibly feels that they can do better than the free market. Because we've seen in every particular instance that they've attempted to do so, that they fail abjectly. When you have a government that feels that they can do better than the free market, better than capitalism itself, and I don't even want to use the word capitalism, I just use the word free market. Because, the laws of physics apply to free markets. And forget the arguments about, well, what are you saying? Banks should have no regulation whatsoever? You mean to tell me you shouldn't regulate an insurance company? No, shut up. What I'm saying is that free markets, when they are allowed to operate as a free market without the government interference, consistently produce a better quality product for less money. It is the law of physics. It is the laws of nature. It is the laws of economics. And every time the government puts its finger into the spinning spokes that were doing just fine until government decided to interject itself into the process, they stick their finger or a broomstick into the spokes. What happens when you do that? Inevitably, the wheel stops spinning, usually causing some sort of damage to the wheel. And what we see over and over and over again, in every aspect, in every respect, in every way, shape, and form, is that when government attempts to influence the marketplace, they do damage to the overall industry, whatever that industry may be. And I just don't get it. I mean, to me, it's beyond comprehension that there's even a point to doing all of that. It serves no purpose. The only thing that it does is it allows congressmen and senators and that other that nauseating crew over there in Washington, D.C., to spend money to buy votes for special interests. And you see, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the primary steps in fascism. Because what you have to realize is that when you are talking about having a government that falls or that has to adhere to what its employer, right? And who is its employer? The lobbyists. The lobbyists of the Monsantos and the Carrefours and the Archer Daniels Midlands. Those, and I'm talking about food in this case, but you see, those people spend literally hundreds of billions of dollars lobbying Congress. Now, we as citizens don't have that kind of wherewithal. Our only fundage available to us to lobby Congress is taxes. And we don't have a say in what they do with it. So what happens is industry lobbies Congress, who pass laws that are in the best interest of industry. And not industry as a whole, but in the benefits or in the best interest of some very clear and specific industry, one small group, one company. Now, invariably, the citizens of the world stand up and say, or the citizens of the United States, stand up and say, hey, wait a minute, that's not good for us. You passed a law that doesn't help us at all. I mean, why is it in our best interest that banks can charge us 35%? And government, because they now have to justify the law that they've passed and support the law that they've passed, which really wasn't in our benefit, but was a bought and paid for law by a special interest group, now has to turn around and come down hard on you in order to force you to accept and acquiesce to whatever the issue was. So, in this case, what you find is a bank gets Congress to sit there and say, hey, give us 35% interest rates. And there's a couple of small voices in Congress that say, why would you do that? That's not really beneficial to the American people. And the other congressmen who are on the dole say, shut the hell up! We're getting paid to do this. Now shut up! And then they pass the bill. Then the sheep will stand up and say, bah, that's not good for us. And government turns around and says, shut the hell up! We got paid to do this. And when enough sheep bleat loud enough, they go out there and start cutting sheep's throats. Get it? Because their bosses, the people who have bought and paid for them over generations and decades, stand there and say, listen, we paid you to pass this bill. Now you're going to pass it, and you're going to do exactly what we say. Or we're going to release that picture of you, Mr. Senator, Mr. Congressperson. We're going to release that picture of you at the nightclub with some chick who's not your wife. Or you with a straw up your nose at a party in downtown Georgetown. Or we're just going to make sure that you never get elected again. Any one of the three will do. But that's how it works, folks. So, government puts on the hobnailed boots and goes and stomps the crap out of us while they are being forced into that action by their master. And you see, we've lost the ability to influence the animal anymore. We now have an elephant on our hands that has gone rogue. It's too big for us to control. We used to have this little switch. We could smack it on the hiney and it would do as we told it to do. But this elephant has now become rogue. It doesn't like us. It's resentful of the fact that we've ever had any control over it at all. It realizes that as an independent being, it has greater power than we ever realized, or than it ever realized either. And it really doesn't care that we are in the way, because it simply realizes that with its bulk and with its power, it can stomp us out of existence like a bug. So what we have is a very angry, rogue elephant. And we are standing here in a pair of shorts and sandals with a switch attempting to control an animal that weighs 8,000 pounds and is angry at us. What do you think of them apples? That's the simple truth, folks. And it's now going to do everything in its power to turn the control around on you. We are in dangerous, dangerous water. We are surrounded by sharks, and our Congress continues to just pour blood into the water. Welcome to the United States of apathy. Most Americans are sitting there treading water, having no idea whether they should swim east or west, north or south. They are simply treading water, waiting for the end to come. I'll be back in just a minute.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true, I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. After meeting with congressional leaders at the White House, President Obama says if a new deal cannot be worked out in time, Senate Republicans should allow an up or down vote on his scaled-down plan to avoid automatic tax hikes and spending cuts.
If they still want to vote no and let tax hikes hit the middle class, that's their prerogative. But they should let everybody else vote as well. That's the way this is supposed to work.
The president, in his weekly address, his plan would increase higher income taxes, extend unemployment benefits, and deal with debt reduction down the road. Missouri Republican Roy Blunt.
The president's tax hike would only fund the government for 8 days. Americans deserve to know, what does the president propose we do for the other 357 days of the year?
Lawmakers still have to write a bill. Claiming his 6-year-old client was traumatized by the school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, a New Haven attorney asks for permission to sue the state. It generally has immunity against legal claims unless permissions granted. The unidentified girl in the case is a first grader at Sandy Hook Elementary School. 6 men in New Delhi, India, now charged with murder. They're facing the death penalty with the death of a woman beaten and raped on a private bus 2 weeks ago. RPN Singh is India's Minister of State for Home Affairs.
The government will work overtime to try and bring about laws and steps that will ensure that no other person, no other citizen of this country has to go through or undergo the same kind of trauma.
There have been a lot of protests since the attack demanding more protection for Indian women and more punishment for their attackers. Saying no one's safe, the State Department updates its warning to Americans traveling to Haiti because of an increase in murders and robberies and the spread of cholera. The warning says a lot of Americans arriving in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, have been attacked and robbed leaving the airport. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto, shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network, giving you the power to prosper.
The Senate approved $60 billion in emergency spending for Hurricane Sandy recovery.
The Senate approved the measure 62-32, with only Republicans voting no. 12 Republicans joined all Democrats voting yes, most notably nearly every senator from the Gulf Coast, whose states were ravaged by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. But there's a problem. The House has not even written a Sandy bill yet, and this Congress ends January 3rd. Democratic New York Senator Chuck Schumer implored the House to tackle the bill right away.
Just as it would be unconscionable for the House to leave without voting on fiscal cliff, it would be unconscionable as well for them to leave without voting on Sandy.
Conservatives don't like the size of the bill and are demanding offsets. At the Capitol, Chad Pergram, Fox News Radio.
A Las Vegas card dealer is the prime suspect in the murder of a 10-year-old girl last seen with her. Brenda Stokes is accused of slashing a co-worker at the Bellagio Casino with razor blades. She's arrested for that for now. The little girl was found stabbed to death Thursday in an undeveloped housing tract. Family members say Stokes had taken her Christmas shopping a week ago that she used to date the girl's father. An old-fashioned way to move fuel is making a comeback.
Pipelines have become a political hot button for the movement of crude oil. As they continue to be debated, more oil continues to be refined in the northern plains. So how is it being delivered around the country? By train. That had been an expensive proposition, but with petroleum products costing more on the east and west coasts, refiners have found trains to be increasingly cost-effective. The number of train cars carrying crude has jumped 20-fold in the past 3 years, but critics say accidents involving tanker cars on railroads are more than 30 times more likely than by pipeline. Ron Flatter, Fox News Radio.
In the NBA, the Los Angeles Clippers win their team record 16th straight game. The Charlotte Bobcats lost their 17th in a row. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
The big finish of 2012 is going on now at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Come experience the new Dart Limited Sedan 6-speed automatic. The new 2013 Dodge Dart redefines performance with Alfa Romeo DNA, fuel-efficient powertrains, and Dodge's passion for performance. The all-new Dodge Dart is a thoroughly modern vehicle that's beautifully designed and crafted, agile and fun to drive, and available with a turbo. Check one out today at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 33. Tonight, clear skies, a low around 18 degrees. And then on Sunday tomorrow, sunny with a high near 40. And then Sunday night, we have a low around 28. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
Okay, we are back. I want to alert you that today is the last day for the 91st Airborne Cavalry Hatchet Squadron packages to go out and get down to the battery station. This is their 10th annual drive for products and services for our troops over in Afghanistan. They support the 1-91st Airborne Cavalry Hatchet Squadron stationed in a forward operating base in Afghanistan. The battery station has been doing this for 10 years. They've been doing this out of their own pocket, at their own expense, bearing the cost of shipping, literally dozens and hundreds, I should say, of packages over to our troops over in Afghanistan. Now, the idea is that these guys are over there, whatever's going on back at home, they've made the commitment that they are going to serve their country. And whether they are being duped like the rest of us or whether they are, in fact, doing some good over there is not material. What is material is the fact that they have sacrificed their lives and their freedom to work over there for at the direction of our nation. And these guys live every day in conditions that we would not even really understand. They go 4, 5, 6 weeks without a shower. They literally live with a hand-to-mouth and the bare necessities of life. They are uncomfortable. They are cold in the winter and boiling hot in the summer. They are in dirty clothes most of the time. And they live a lifestyle that we don't understand. Not to mention that they're under the constant threat of attack, and when they are out there in the field operating, they are constantly being fired upon. And so we back here have an opportunity to provide them with a little bit of comfort, a little bit of back home, a little bit of those types of things that we feel are basic necessities to us. So the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains has been sending packages over there for a decade now, where they include things like basic foot powder, unscented bar soaps, non-scented baby wipes, coffee, tuna and salmon in foil packages, dry soup mixes, Christmas cards, playing cards, and all kinds of issues like that, where they send this stuff over at their cost and expense to provide these guys with a little bit of back home, if you will. They're located at 303 Washington Avenue. Today is the last day to get your donations into them. And if you cannot donate products, or if you're too far outside the area or you can't make it today, you can call them and you can donate some money to participate in this effort. Now, their phone number is 257-7799. That's 417-257-7799. You can also go to their website, or you can contact them via email at troops@batterystation.com. Now, because of the fact that they are sending out this stuff at their own cost and expense, if you can't donate a product, but you would like to support them in some way, shape, or form, you can certainly donate money, and you can do that at any time. You don't have to necessarily have that resolved by today. But it is important for you to express to our troops what their work does and means to us back home. These are young men and women who really put their lives on the line for us every day. And I strongly encourage you to be an active participant in assisting and making their stay a little bit more comfortable. These are guys that, have really taken it on the chin, if you will, over the course of the last few years. And they're in a situation which, in many cases, even they don't agree with, and yet there's not much that they can do about it. Now, you may say, well, they volunteered to go over there. I get it, they did. But they did it for the right patriotic reasons, and they didn't do it for self-aggrandizement or personal benefit, because, let's be honest, guys in the military are not exactly making a lot of money, folks. So anything that you can do to assist the battery station in making this project a reality is greatly appreciated and beneficial. So I'm going to give you the phone number again. It's called the Battery Station. They're a store here in West Plains, where they're at 303 Washington Avenue. That's right off the square, and they are basically donating their time, their effort, and their money to and goods and products, of course, to ship over to these guys. They send them flashlights and batteries and all kinds of stuff that is their products that they normally sell. And, it's important that you can participate. So you can reach them at 257-7799. You can email them at troops@batterystation.com. You can also find them on the web at batterystation.com. And they are also a sponsor of our program. And so I would encourage you to shop there as well, because these guys are patriots. They support this show so that you have an opportunity to hear what we talk about and do every day. And I want you to participate with them. Again, you can find them at batterystation.com. They have a ton of freeze-dried food that they just got in. And that freeze-dried food is the Mountain House number 10 cans. Now, these are the cans that everybody wants, because this is stuff like scrambled eggs and bacon. They have a granola cereal there with milk and everything all in it. All you got to do is basically add water. This food stores, and it's in these big number 10 cans. That's like coffee cans. And this food stores until 2037. And they have the best prices on that food that you will find anywhere. I have seen this stuff sold by other competitors like Freeze Dry Guy and other competitors out there who are selling these cans for $35, $37, $39 a can. These guys down there are in the mid-20s per can. And so you can literally save 25% by going down to the battery station and obtaining it from them. They also have a supply of ammunition in place, which right now is in short supply across the board everywhere you go. And so I strongly encourage you to get down there. They have all kinds of tactical gear. They've got knapsacks and backpacks and gun cases and all kinds of things. They've got, of course, a million flashlights and every battery that has ever been made, other than watch batteries. That's the one thing they don't carry. But they also have all kinds of stuff like Pelican cases. They have these otter boxes that float and are waterproof, so you can put them into your bug out bag or just use them for, when you take a float trip down the river. They come with a little lanyard on them, and you can drop your camera or your cell phone or your cigarette pack or whatever it is that you do into those and know that it's safe and secure. So please do yourselves a favor and do this show a favor and patronize the battery station and all of our sponsors, because these are the people that really make a difference for us. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction, another great patriotic American. Here's a guy who put his money on the line and said, you know what? I believe in what you're doing over there, Michael, and I want to make sure that I play a part in that. And so here's what I'm willing to do. I'm going to have you put commercials on the air for my business, and I want to specifically target them on your show. Now that, folks, is really the kind of guy and the kind of attitude that you want. That's a guy who's putting his money where his mouth is. He's not just sitting there idly while he's eating potato chips in his size 42 pants, overweight, sitting there whining and belly aching and complaining. He's actually doing something about it in the way that he can. So Bill Stone from Stone Construction can be reached at 293-0116. He does custom new construction. He also does custom remodeling, and he does light commercial work. If you're a business and you're looking to do some renovation or some commercial work, get a hold of Bill at 293-0116. If you are looking to slide your mother-in-law into the house to help trim bills, if you need to have your dad move in after your mom has passed away, if you've had a brand new baby in the house and you need to do some renovation and maybe finish off the basement, get a hold of Bill Stone and make sure that you're offering him an opportunity to bid on the job. I know he's been in this business for 40 years. He does excellent work, and you'll be very pleased with the end result. Chantilly's Artisan Bakery is the best bakery within 100 miles, without a doubt and beyond any argument. They are the best bakery around. You cannot find a better place than them, and they are available at 255-2253. Now, they're at number 2 Evans Arcade, no relation, and Evans Arcade is on the square in West Plains, and it's one of those side alleys that runs down the side. And they are an outstanding bakery. She makes the best, breads and pastries and things like that you can find anywhere within a 100-mile radius, and I'm not kidding you. She had special orders coming in over the holidays from Springfield, folks. So if you want to try an awesome bakery, go over to Chantilly's Artisan Bakery at number 2 Evans Arcade, Or you can call them at 255-2253. They do special orders as well. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, another great sponsor of ours. This is a guy that has a facility down in Mountain Home, 1/2 mile east of Walmart on Route 62, and they also sell camping gear and freeze-dried foods, and they sell all kinds of self-reliance products. They have an oven that you can cook with just literally from sunlight, solar-powered oven as they call it. And I'm here to tell you that this is the kind of stuff that we talk about and preach every day. Because if you're not going to be prepared to be self-reliant, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And I would strongly encourage you to get a hold of Brian down at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance at 870-492-4030. Now, you can find his website where you can look at the products that they offer at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. That's ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. Or you can call Brian at 870-492-4030, 1/2 mile east of Walmart on Route 62 in Mountain Home. He is also a local guy in our area, so if you wanted to have him drop products off for you, I'm sure that he could arrange that when he comes home at night. I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. So please make sure that you are patronizing our sponsors, because these are the guys who make this show available to you every single day and on every weekend. We don't get paid to do this show. You've heard me say it before. We put up a brand new button on our website, by the way, where you can donate, and we could certainly use any donations that you'd be willing to put forth. It goes through PayPal, so it's completely secure. You can donate with a credit card, or you can donate with a PayPal account. You can donate directly out of your checking account. You can do it on a subscription basis or a one-off, one-shot deal, and we would greatly appreciate anything that you would be willing to do to support America's Voice Now, because we put forth a lot of effort and energy. We spend an enormous amount of time preparing and prepping these shows. We spend an enormous amount of time doing all the research that's required, keeping up the website, and all of these other types of things. And quite honestly, it's not inexpensive to do. I do it out of my pocket. And, it's something that we could certainly use your help with. So if you appreciate what we bring to you every day, and if you like the content of our show, and you like the idea that what we're doing is different than what you're hearing every day from every other mainstream media channel, then put your money where your mouth is and support us, because we need it. It's that simple, guys. If you want to have this kind of show available to you, support it. Otherwise, it could evaporate like smoke. So, we want to be a force in our area. We want to be educational. We want to be informative. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to hear what is going on in the world around us, to be prepared, to be motivated, and to be activated to take action when things come up that we have an opportunity to make changes on. And so you can go to our website at americasvoicenow.org. You can donate there. There's a couple of different buttons all over the place that just say donate or whatever they say. You can simply click on them and donate through your PayPal account or through a credit card via PayPal. And we would greatly appreciate that. I don't care if it's $1 or $5 or $20 or whatever it is. We're not sitting here asking you to pay for a Mercedes. We don't. That's not realistic. We know the area that we're in. And we understand that, there's not an enormous amount of liquid cash around here. And so we are respectful of that. And we are very appreciative of those donations that are made. We do have a couple that come in. And we do have folks that donate to us on a fairly routine basis. And we are extraordinarily appreciative of them. And I want to thank each and every one of you for making 2012 a great year for America's Voice Now, because we've had an opportunity to reach untold thousands of people, not only on this radio show, but on our website. We stream this show live every day, and we have listeners in about 20 different states out of the 50 that literally log on every single day and watch our show. So, they can't listen to it because we either don't broadcast in their area or whatever the case may be, or they're family and friends of people who are living in our area, and they've said, hey, this is a great show. You should be paying attention to this. And so they log on in places like Michigan, in places like Illinois, in places like Texas, in places like Florida, in places like California, where they literally log on and watch our show and participate with us on a routine basis. So we appreciate those folks, and you should too, because basically we're spreading the word one person at a time every single day. We are the ones who are telling the truth when no one else will. Now, you may not always approve of my style. You may not always approve of the dialogue. You may not always approve of the way that I think. But you can't deny that we are delivering a product that no one else is even coming close to. And, you know, the mass media is out there lying to you every day. Our job is to counteract that by offering you something that they can't. So, you know, it's important that you participate with us, that you share with us, that you talk to your friends about it, that you tell your friends about this show, that you like us on Facebook and share things on our Facebook page with other people that you're friends with on Facebook, for a very simple reason. By doing so, you're raising the level of audience that we have. And the bigger our audience, the more power we have. Power comes with numbers, people. And so by raising our numbers, we can actually make a bigger difference. We can make a bigger difference with Restore Missouri. We can make a bigger difference with Restore America. And that's what it's about. That's why we're doing this. We're not doing this for some ego or self-aggrandizement. And I can tell you this, we're definitely not doing it for the money. So help us and help yourself in the process, and help our nation. You know, it doesn't take much for you to just click the share button on Facebook and offer to let someone else that you know hear a show that you found to be valuable to you. Really. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. We are on YouTube, where we're posting up lately all of the shows that we're doing, literally that day or the day after, where we are putting up interviewed guests and that type of thing. And so, by all means, please feel free to share that information with your friends and your neighbors and your family and other people that you have an influence with, because everyone who watches, we grow our audience, and growing our audience is the only way for us to get the word out to more people. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. And we run our show live and streaming on the web every day. So if you've got a family member that you think would be able to, or would appreciate a chance to listen to our show from time to time, send them to the website at americasvoicenow.org. And there's a button down there on the right where they can click, where they can watch the show streaming live every day and on weekends. At the 8 o'clock hour, we are going to be joined by two chicks on the right. And this is a couple of gals by the name of Daisy and Macarena. And Macarena goes by Mac. And these are two girls that decided a couple of years ago that our country was descending into some form that they didn't quite recognize anymore. And they are conservative gals, and their goal is to change the way that conservative women are viewed, to change the minds of Americans, one person at a time, about how people look at American conservative women. And I'm going to tell you something. They have an enormous following. On their Facebook page, they have 81,500 likes. That's a ton of contact. That means that they are making an impact to literally 82,000 people every single day of their lives. And in addition to that, anybody that those people share their information with. And that's where the term viral comes from, right? Their mantra is chicks on the right, because conservatism needs a makeover. And boy, oh boy, do we ever. They're a couple of fun-loving girls, and they got a great sense of humor, and I think you're going to enjoy them. They're going to be joining us at the 8 o'clock hour, running with us until 9 o'clock, the end of the show. And make sure that you're staying here and tuned in with us to hear that. If you'd like to contact us, you can on our Wits End Hair Hotline. Jason from Wits End, which is the classic barber shop on the square in West Plains, is a sponsor of our show. He sponsors our telephone lines, and you can call in here at 257-1111 or toll free at 866-554-6636. Jason does great haircuts. He cuts my hair, and He's got this barber shop that's really cool. When you walk into this place, you feel like you just stepped back about 40 or 50 years. Beautiful woodwork in there, and it's just an old environment that really makes you feel, it's very down-homey and that kind of thing. There's a chessboard in there, a checkerboard in there. It's just a great environment. Lots of great conversation, good people. I meet people in there all the time. I go in there all the time, sometimes just to hang out and chat for a little bit. And he's a really good fella. He's a great hair cutter. He charges $10. He does a hot lather shave that will just blow your doors off. So if you really want to treat your husband or your son to a great experience, send them over there. Get him a haircut. Have him do a hot lather shave, old style with a straight razor. It's quite an experience. We see that in the cowboy movies and stuff all the time, but we actually never experience it ourselves, and it's really quite unique. Hot towel treatment, the whole 9 yards. It's just a great place to go, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So feel free to visit with him. He is on the square in West Plains. It's called Wits End Classic Barbershop. You can call our toll-free telephone line at 866-554-6636, or our local number at 257-1111, and put your input and your opinion out here on the air for others to hear. We don't give out names. We don't have caller ID. We don't track down who you are. We don't ask for your name or anything else. And I know people out there are shy and uncomfortable sometimes about talking and things like that, but don't be, because, you're entitled to your opinion, and sometimes you can generate a topic or a level of conversation by an idea that you have. I get great ideas from our listeners all the time. I get email all the time with ideas and concepts that I find valuable. And we run with them sometimes. Give me an example. The other day I had a listener send me the concept of a new constitutional amendment. I'm going to have to find this for you, so you'll just have to bear with me for a moment. But this guy sent me this email, which I really appreciated. And here's what it is. He's got an idea for a new constitutional amendment. And here's what this amendment is. I love this, by the way, and you will too. Here's the proposed new 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Congress shall make no law that applies to the citizens of the United States that does not apply equally to the senators and or representatives, and Congress shall make no law that applies to the senators or representatives that does not apply equally to the citizens of the United States. What do you think of that? I love that idea. You know why? Because I'm tired of Congress acting like they're some elitists that are over and above us, like there are overlords, like they are our dukes and lords, right? These guys live a life of luxury. They get paid a ton of money, $175,000 or $195,000 a year. They absolutely have all the security that they could ever dream about, which they apparently don't think we are entitled to, or our children in school, I might add. And they are abusive of everything in every other respect. So
I guess we got caught up in the crazy housing boom.
We had been in the house so long we didn't want to lose it.
I was only going to pay interest for the first 5 years.
What these people share is that they all got in trouble with their mortgages, and they all called a certified housing counselor for help.
Our housing counselor looked at our paperwork and she knew something was wrong.
She understood what needed to be done, and she helped me work it out with the bank.
This is a free service. If you think you're in trouble, don't wait. Call 1-866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. There's a scramble by Senate leaders to throw together a last-ditch agreement to avoid the fiscal cliff.
At yesterday's White House meeting, President Obama did not offer negotiators anything new. He just tried to sell them on the same plan he outlined last Friday. It's being called Plan C, since the president's Plan A and Speaker Boehner's Plan B both failed to gain traction.
Fox's Peter Ducey.
Plan C would extend middle-class tax rates, and we're told the Senate wants to tweak exactly who counts as being in the middle class, maybe even raising the income threshold, and the White House is apparently willing to go as high as $400,000 or $500,000 a year.
And there were wedding bells after midnight in Maine as a state's voter-approved law allowing same-sex marriages took effect. Gay marriage also approved by popular vote in Washington State and Maryland, where it kicks in Tuesday. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The big finish of 2012 is going on now at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Come experience the new Dart Limited Sedan 6-speed automatic. The new 2013 Dodge Dart redefines performance with Alfa Romeo DNA, fuel-efficient powertrains, and Dodge's passion for performance. The all-new Dodge Dart is a thoroughly modern vehicle that's beautifully designed and crafted, agile and fun to drive, and available with a turbo. Check one out today at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 33. Tonight, clear skies, a low around 18 degrees. And then on Sunday tomorrow, sunny with a high near 40. And then Sunday night, we have a low around 28. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
We will not be an easy target. We will never roll over and let pain plan our day, or let an ache tell us what we can and cannot do. We will not linger on the sofa, ask somebody else to bring us the mail, or take the parking space closest to the door. But what we will do is take action. We will plan ahead. We will protect our bodies and fight back by moving. Lace up our sneakers and grab our tennis rackets. We will bowl. We will do our morning laps and bike ride through Saturday afternoon. We will walk our dogs around the block. We will pass up the elevator and proudly take the stairs. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? To learn more, visit us at fightarthritispain.org. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
All right. Without bumpers, it's kind of hard to tell when we come back on. Hey, we have got a series of CCW training classes that we're kicking off. And so if you would like to participate in those, please make sure that you send me an email. They'll be happening virtually every weekend going forward now. And these classes are filling up very, very quickly because of all the anti-gun discussions going on. So if you want to take a CCW class, the cost is $75. You have to qualify with a revolver and a pistol. I can get you all the details. Send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org. And I'll make sure I get you the details, and we'll try to get you into a class. They're filling up very, very quickly, so you'll have to be a little bit flexible about your times and dates and that kind of thing, but I think we can probably get you into one. Our TAC 1 pistol training, which is not a CCW class, but a 2-day tactical pistol and shooting course, is being scheduled for the latter part of January. And the reason why we're going to push that date off, and I know I'd sent an email out to some of you folks about it, the reason why we're going to push that off is because of the fact that CCW classes are so full right now that we're literally struggling to try to keep that up. But in addition to that, it's kind of cold out, and this is a 2-day course where you're going to shoot about 800 rounds. And so we're trying to set this up so that it can be comfortable and that type of thing, while at the same point in time informative and that kind of thing as well. Our co-op program will be starting right after January, and we will have a list of products that we will be emailing out to our listenership who want to be able to buy bulk food and we're talking about like 50-pound bags of rice, 50-pound bags of flour, 50-pound bags or 25-pound bags of powdered milk, if you're interested in a 50-pound bag of sugar and things like that. And you can buy this stuff for way, way, way below what you would pay at any retail store and below even what you can buy it for online. Now, the idea is we all want to practice what we preach, and what we preach is self-reliance. And as a result of that, you can buy yourself a few bags of this rice, as an example, and put it into jars or cans or freeze dry it, or put it into some bags and then put it in 5-gallon buckets and put it away. And when you need it, you got it. And guess what? If we're completely wrong and our tinfoil hats prove to be tarnished in a year and a half, and things are all perfect and rosy, and everybody's and money is flowing everywhere, and everybody's happy, and we're all full of our newfound liberty, then guess what? You can eat it, and you've saved 20% on your on your food bill, because every year that goes by, you will find that you can save 20% on your food bill by buying this way. So, actually more, because you're going to already get it for probably about 20% below what you would actually pay for it at a retail location, or more. And then in addition to that, you've got whatever inflation builds on top of that. So, participate in our cooperative program. Make sure that you're sending an email to me at mike@americasvoicenow.org, and I'll make sure that as soon as that list is available, we get it out to you. We'll have a period of time in which we can take orders, and then that stuff will get delivered. You'll get a call that says you got to come down and pick up your stuff. So, also want to talk about a law seminar that we're going to have with Mike Brown. Mike Brown is a gentleman that we've had on a couple of times. He's going to have we're going to sponsor a law seminar with him that will enable us to kind of educate our listeners about how they can, one, participate in legal issues in their own lives, but also do stuff like as simple as writing your own will, handling a small criminal or civil case against yourself, handling a big criminal case, or knowing that you've got a big civil case coming up and you want to make sure that you have the ability to participate in your own defense, which is very important as well. So that seminar will be a one-day event, and we're looking at a date probably in later part of January or very early February. And if you would like to participate in that, we're going to have a special rate for those people who are listeners of ours, and we're going to hold it here in West Plains. And it'll be a great opportunity for you and your husband or your spouse or your wife or whatever to maybe come together and take a lot of notes and learn a lot of things, ask a lot of questions, and go forward. Welcome to the show, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I like your dairy farmer that calls out of Houston. He is a kick.
Who is this? The dairy farmer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to work for a hog farmer over in Alton.
Okay.
And, he talked about his co-op and everything. My parents used to farm and stuff, and back in Iowa. I called you once before. But the thing is, like our farm bureaus and our co-ops that supposedly help the farmers, all they're doing is taking the money from the middleman, the Monsanto and all these other corporations and stuff, and telling the farmers, bye, we don't need you. We're getting our money. So, and you look back in the 60s when they started doing this milk where they said they had to heat it and everything.
Yeah.
You go over in the Middle East, you don't find pasteurized milk.
No, of course not.
And this pasteurized milk is nothing but garbage because they can keep it on the shelf longer than what they could raw milk.
Right.
That's the only reason why they do it.
Right. But there is a lot of enzymes and natural ingredients that we lose by the pasteurization process. You sterilize the milk, basically.
Yep, it is.
Which makes it nice to drink, but ultimately it's really not doing you any good beneficially as a physical, organic product, right?
No. Well, you look at it, did you ever hear anybody getting milk lactosis back in the 60s before they started it? I
No.
never did.
No.
And now you look at everybody that can't drink milk or eat ice cream and stuff that's milk lactosis.
Yeah.
Because it's sterilizing.
Good point.
They take all the good stuff out of it.
Sure.
Government control. And our churches, a lot of them are in blame because they're in bed with the government with these taxes that they get, so they don't have to pay taxes on what they get in. They don't say anything about our government, what's going on. You look back in the Revolution, there was 5 pastors that preached on what Britain was doing and taxing the American people. Do you hear that nowadays, what our Congress and everybody's doing? No, they keep their mouths shut because they said they can't do it. They can't say a word about our government and what's going on because they'll lose their tax deal. And I go back to the Bible and look at it and say what Jesus said to the Pharisees and Sadducees when they tried to get him on when the Romans were taxing them and they showed him a penny and he asked them whose pictures are it, and they said Caesar's. He said, give the government what's due to government and give to God what's due to them.
Yep.
And our churches don't follow what the Bible says.
No, I agree with you. I think in many cases, and I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. We've got a few other lines lit up, so thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that you're absolutely right in the sense that a lot of churches really are not fully informing their congregations about what's going on around us. And if there's ever a group that had the ear and influence over a large percentage of our population, it's our churches. And I truly believe that they're doing us a disservice in not telling us what is really happening going on in our country and telling us and teaching us how to play an active role. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Mike, I tried to get you after the show yesterday, but anyway, we've got a gun company right here in Missouri, in Fayette, Missouri.
Yeah, that's what, CMMG?
CMMG, right. They
Yeah.
make 15s and M16s.
Yep.
And I got a website, but you sounds like you already know about it.
Yeah, I do know who they are. They're a manufacturer of firearms right here in Missouri. They go under the name CMMG. That's Charlie Mike Golf.
Right.
And
the website's www.cmmginc.com.
CMMGinc.com. I got you. Right. They make. Hey, thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. They make a lot of black guns, folks, and so I'm sure they are literally swamped by the orders right now. And you can try to log on there and see if you can order something direct and have it shipped to your dealer. But the odds are probably good it won't happen. But I mean that's entirely up to you. If you've been looking at pricing lately on any of these quote unquote assault weapons, you'll know that they have climbed in value to an astronomical rate, which just makes me wonder how true it was when they talked last week about this gun trade-in program they had out in L.A. because they had people turning in assault rifles for a $100 or $200 gift card that they could use at Walmart or whatever food store they go to, and these guns are literally worth anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000, not $1 and $200. So if you're stupid enough to do a gun buyback program and get a $100 or $200 gift card to go shopping and turn in a gun that's worth $1,000 to $2,000, I don't know what to think. In fact, I can't help you. If you're so stupid, you're going to sell a gun for $100 that's worth $1,500. There is no helping in you. First of all, just to sell the gun right off the bat is a damn fool idea. And secondarily, to sell a gun that's worth $1,500 for $100 worth of a gift card makes you an absolute stupid idiot. What you should have done was walked into a gun store and said, "Here, I'll give you this for $1,000 because I know tomorrow morning you can sell it for $1,500." The old adage, folks, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? Hey, listen, at the top of the hour, we have our friends coming up, these chicks on the right, and I think you're gonna enjoy this opportunity to hear them. They're two kind of fun-loving gals who are conservative in their nature, and they are their mantra is their mantra is pretty good. It's two chicks on the right because conservatism needs a makeover. And boy, I'll tell you what, do we ever. You look at these pompous marshmallow idiots in Washington on both sides of the fence, and it is just beyond comprehension that these people are actually alive. I don't know how they got to be adults because they're so stupid that it's surprising to me that they haven't fallen into a pothole 100 feet deep and just sat down there until they died. It's shameful that these people are considered the best and the brightest that we have to offer. I find them vacuous and foolish and childish and materialistic and shamefully ignorant. That's my thinking of Congress. Yes, I know we should respect the chair. Yes, I know we should respect the slot. Yes, I know we should respect the presidency. But I do respect those positions. I just don't respect the people that currently occupy them, because I think they're shamefully foolish. I think they're vacuous. I think they're selfish. I think they're egotistical. I think they're greedy. I think they're corrupt. That's what I think. What do you think? You can call us after this break coming up in 10 seconds at 257-1111 and 866-554-6636 on the Wits End Hair Hotline. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay, it looks like our automation is working again, so I am going to talk to you for another 40 seconds rather than let you listen to our entire musical bed. Even though I love this song. I know we live in the Midwest where everybody wants to hear country, but I ain't a country guy. I grew up in the East Coast where this kind of beat is just all right with me. I mean, listen, I'll shovel horse poop with the best of you. I'll go out there and work a farm with the best of you. But I like a different kind of music. I love country too. I also love classical. I also love opera. I also love jazz. I'll listen to, current music, and I'll listen to Mozart. We'll be back in just a second.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, bubble ball Thursday, water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday, let's move Monday, Father's next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov. A message from USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
2012 will be remembered for a lot of things. One of them, the remarkable number of entertainers, sports figures, politicians, and newsmakers who died.
That's one small step for man.
We're Penn State. I'm proud of you folks.
I'm Mike Wallace.
JR's Golden Rules. Don't forgive and don't forget.
Hi, Dick Clark live in Times Square. Be listening for The Way They Were, a special presentation from Fox News Radio, right here.
Join the Ozarks Best News Talk for this special show at 8 a.m. on New Year's Day.
My name is Manny Morales. I'm 45 and I coach youth football. It's still hard to believe because the high school me
was a work in progress. But big brothers, big sisters give me a real role model. And the young me
neither a role model bad. My big brother's name is Ray, and Ray is the reason that this 7-year-old grows up to be a role model himself.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child. Start something today at bigbrothersbigsisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
We got about 8 minutes till these girls join us. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, chiming in from your southern sister state, Mike.
Hey, there he is. Arcanistan Joe.
In one word, regarding that two-house body in Malfunction Junction that's trying to replace the body of Christ.
Malfunction Junction, I like that.
Reprobate. One
reprobate.
word. Reprobate.
There you go.
Is what they are, and one word for your show, unique.
Ah, thank you.
One of a kind in the terrestrial area here.
I appreciate that.
Now, I'll tell you, them earlier comments about surveillance reminded me of the prophecy in Ezekiel, or not Ezekiel, no, it's in Ecclesiastes. Sorry about that, 10:20.
Okay.
It plainly says, a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. Sounds like radio, television, telephone, internet, text, and so forth.
Yeah.
So what I do, since they're listening, is I like to talk about things they need to hear for their admonishment. Give them a chance to repent.
Sure.
So that no harm will come to them. You see.
I got you, and I approve of that. However, I'm incensed by the fact that that's not all they're listening to.
Well, at least if that's right, but at least if they're giving a witness, you don't feel so bad when God's judgment comes and hammers them.
I got you. All right, so you're giving a fair warning. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Amen. Amen. Something like that. They could let them read what they want.
Yeah, I get you.
But I traded my tinfoil hat in for a Kevlar helmet a long time ago.
Did you line the inside with tin foil, Joe, or did you?
Well, there is a point to that. I'll talk to you about it later.
It just keeps you warm, buddy. That's it.
Kind of like Alex and yourself, and I mean many, many others out here. We're all in.
I hear you.
And like I say, they've known that since I was a boy child. So you don't have any choice.
I got you.
And remember, I want people to remember something. If they put us into code black, there's several statuses worse than death. Just people keep that in mind.
That's true.
Hey, have a good weekend.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. All right, we'll see you. I'm going to play something for you guys real quick that I found very disturbing. This is a Republican. I think you'll find this as equally frustrating as I do. Well, hurry up. This is an American commentator.
The Second Amendment absolutely guarantees the right of every citizen of sound mind to have a firearm. It does. There is no ifs, there are no buts, there's no questions about it. And I want you to look at this in a greater context of things. We have had a Zionist-controlled Hollywood, a Zionist-controlled news media that is the conduit to all of this violence, this imagery into every home in America. And so you wonder why there's a culture of violence? It comes from the Jews in Hollywood.
This guy is a conservative, folks. Do you hear what he's saying? I mean, if this guy represents the conservative American political philosophy, I'm scared to death. Did you ever hear me use the term fascism before? Listen to this guy. He's a conservative political commentator, and it is absolutely frightening. I can't believe the words coming out of this guy's mouth. And by the way, well, I'll let you make your own decision.
That's where the conduit of violence comes from. That's the source of it. But look behind that even deeper. I want to remind you of the Norway shooting of Mr. Breivik, which followed a week after Norway had agreed to support Palestine. Now you look at Israel just lost their bid to thwart Palestine from being recognized by the United Nations. And now here we go. Here's a revenge killing in the U.S. sponsored by Israel that was that killed all these innocent children.
And they say, we're wearing tinfoil hats? I mean, this guy is off his rocker. He's trying to tell us that the murder in Newtown, the murders of those children in Newtown, Connecticut, is an Israeli plot. I mean, and they're telling us that we're wearing tinfoil hats for worrying about our government. Unbelievable.
That is something that Israelis do very, very well. They target the innocent, they target children, they target women, and they avoid the issue because they're angry, they didn't get their way, and now Palestine has standing in the UN, and Israel is going to be subject to the International Criminal Courts, and their leadership is going to be taken to task. So let's connect the dots here about what's going on globally, geopolitically, with Israel involved. Now, they're also calling for a congressional hearing. Now, one thing you can count on with a congressional hearing is there's going to be a cover-up, because all of our congressmen are bought.
That part I agree with, by the way.
and paid for by the Israel lobby in the
Not that part.
U.S. So any truth of this that's going to be is going to be hidden because Israel wants it hidden because they are once again the guilty party. You have to realize Israel has been operating death squads in the United States now since Gabby Giffords and Judge Roll were shot in Tucson. There's been other incidences, the Aurora, Colorado shooting. That was, again, Israeli death squads operating in the U.S. I don't know. I am so disgusted with Israel and their behavior on the international stage. Hollywood is Jewish-owned and Jewish-controlled, and they spew filth and they spew violence out. And let's look at our gun control who want to take the guns away. Feinstein, Schumer, Boxer. Those are all the ones. Those are not the. Those are all Jewish senators, all Jewish people who want to take guns away from normal, law-abiding, middle-class Americans who have a right under this Constitution to do it. They've been trying to destroy this country and trying to destroy this Constitution for the last 70 years since the Frankfurt School came over here from Germany. And I, for one, it's time to push back. We're not going to sit back and take this Zionist-occupied government that we have in this country anymore. It's time for us to have meaningful change
let's just stick
and
to
bring
the
us back
issue
to a
of
true constitutional
Right, let
republic.
me bring in Mr. Jackson.
I am very much anti-Israel. I want Israel off the face of the earth. They are the source of all problems in the Middle East. They are the original terrorists. And do not forget that this killing in Newton was a revenge killing because Israel lost the vote about Palestine being recognized in the UN. That's all it's about. It happens every time. It's Israelis acting out, throwing a fit, and extracting revenge upon the United States. That's exactly what it is. And I'm tired of the kid gloves with Israel. It's time to go bare knuckles with them. Let's go.
Wow. Is this dude off his rocker or what? I mean, I find that amazing. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show. You got about 30 seconds.
Hi, it's Mock from Chicks on the Right.
Hey, Mock, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. I didn't realize you were going to call in on that number.
That's okay. Daisy's on the line as well.
Awesome. Hey, Daisy, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Got my coffee, so I'm happy.
All right. Hey, we've got a break coming up in a few seconds. Do you mind hanging on with us for a few minutes and for this break to run by?
Sure.
Okay, hang on 1 second. We're going to have the gals on with us, guys, as soon as we have this break run by for us. You're listening to America's Voice Now, and you can find us on the web at www.americasvoicenow.org, and you can find their website at chicksontheright.com, because conservatism needs a makeover, and boy, are they ever right. You can also find them on Facebook at facebook.com/chicksontheright. They've got an outstanding following, and I'd like for us to be a part of that. They're going to be on with us for the next 45 or 50 minutes or so, and we're going to have a few laughs and maybe a little bit at ourselves and maybe a little at some of those others around us. We'll be back in just a few seconds a few minutes, I should say, because this is the top of the hour break. We've got news and weather. We'll be back in, maybe 2 minutes or so.
.107.1 The Point, KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. President Obama says he's modestly optimistic about a deal to prevent widespread tax hikes from kicking in automatically, even if it's a modest deal.
We're now at the point where, in just a couple of days, the law says that every American's tax rates are going up. Every American's paycheck will get a lot smaller. And that would be the wrong thing to do for our economy.
He's holding firm on higher tax rates on higher income. Missouri Republican Roy Blunt.
We can still avoid going over the fiscal cliff if the president and the Democrat-controlled Senate step forward this week and work with Republicans to solve this problem and solve it now.
Congressional leaders negotiating where tax rates go up, if at all, also estate taxes. A new 75% tax rate on the rich in France is rejected as excessive and unconstitutional by a court. It would have applied to people with incomes over €1 million. That's about $1.3 million. France's prime minister says the government will rewrite and resubmit that tax in a new budget law. After meeting with a special United Nations envoy, Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov says the bloodshed in Syria could end if rebels are willing to sit down with President Bashar al-Assad's government.
Lavrov says that the chance for a political solution remains, and it's Russia's obligation to encourage dialogue with both sides involved in the conflict. Lavrov went on to say that Assad isn't leaving Damascus and that the opposition must meet with him in order for there to be a resolution to the conflict. During talks with Lavrov, United Nations peace envoy Lakhdar Brahimi said that if a solution is not found, there will be bloodshed and hell in Syria. In Moscow, Jessica Gallagher, Fox News Radio.
The bodies of a man and a boy swept into the water near the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, recovered 100 yards offshore. The third man who'd been fishing with them on some rocks made it back to shore. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
You're in the Fox Light.
Hitmaker and former Idol winner Kelly Clarkson is engaged, tweeting to her fans that her fiancé, Brandon Blackstock, popped the question. She wrote, "This is, quote, the happiest night of my life last night. I am so lucky and am with the greatest man ever." Kate Middleton made her first public appearance since being hospitalized for acute morning sickness. The Duchess of Cambridge appeared at the BBC Sports Awards in London. 282 films are eligible for this year's Oscar nominations. Academy members will receive their ballots with the nominees announced on January 10th. Magic Mike star and People magazine's sexiest man alive, Channing Tatum, and his wife Jenna are expecting their first child. In Hollywood, William Lachenesse, Fox News.
The Fox Light.
Keep listening for more focus from the Fox Light on Fox News Talk.
A new Congress convenes Thursday, January 3rd. Will John Boehner be Speaker of the House January 4th? He has to run for the job.
The rule in the House of Representatives is that once you start voting for Speaker, you have to keep voting until you elect a Speaker. And it doesn't take that many people to vote for somebody else, even if there's not an organized campaign for a third-party candidate, so to speak, against Boehner going on right now. But to get to that second ballot doesn't take that much, only 17 defections. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi had 19 defections at the beginning of this Congress.
Fox's Chad program on Capitol Hill. Former President George H.W. Bush is still in a Houston hospital, but improving, a family spokesman says. Former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher is getting better in London.
Lady Thatcher is leaving hospital today. She went in there for what was described as minimal invasive operation to remove a growth in her bladder. Now, it was said last weekend that the operation was successful and that she'd stay in hospital to recuperate for a few days and then return home.
Sky News correspondent John Craig in London. A Wisconsin couple says their unusual pet saved their lives.
Need a new smoke alarm? How about a chicken instead? Dennis Muraska says his pet chicken, Cluck Cluck, woke up his wife, Susan, from its cage in the basement. He didn't realize there was a fire because the smoke alarms hadn't gone off, and the chicken can get quite vocal when she gets excited. Cluck Cluck came from a nearby farm. When it began wandering over to his house, his neighbor said he could kill it because it wasn't producing any eggs. But Muraska felt sorry for Cluck Cluck because of its mutated foot and kept it. The fire, which started in the attic of the attached garage, destroyed the house, but it could have been worse if not for the chicken.
Fox News Radio's Pat O'Neill. And I'm Chris Foster. Fox News Radio.
This is Janet with Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains and invite you to test drive a new Dodge Dart. The Dart is loaded with innovative technology, class-leading safety features, and clever functionality. The new Dodge Dart sets a new standard in the compact car segment by offering unmatched personalization, roominess, style, functionality, and fun-to-drive dynamics. We have them now at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, during the big finish of 2012, where buying a vehicle is simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 33. Tonight, clear skies, a low around 18 degrees. And then on Sunday tomorrow, sunny with a high near 40. And then Sunday night, we have a low around 28. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Hey, we're back. And we're back with two chicks on the right. Good morning, ladies.
Hello. Good morning.
How are you?
Well, fabulous.
Great. Hey, I'm glad that both of you could have joined us on the same call. Thank you.
Sure.
You guys have a great website. You have a great Facebook page. You have a ton of followers. And I really, really love your mantra of because conservatism needs a makeover. And boy, do we ever. These pontificating marshmallows in Washington just drive me nuts. I was just talking to our listeners before, and I was saying, these people over there, if this is our best and brightest, I'm really, really worried.
Oh, yeah. Right? Oh, yes, absolutely.
I mean, they are buffoons, and they sound like they absolutely have no brains. You wonder if these guys together can string a GED together.
Yeah. Didn't they all just get raises? Yeah.
Yes, they all just got raises to boot.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm paying for that.
Right, $1 billion a year.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's based on job performance, oh my God, I have to become a senator immediately.
Me too. I mean, why can't I run?
Seriously. I think it's called money.
Oh, is that what it is?
And since mine is being funneled to them,
I don't have any left to go out and run my own race.
I don't have a chance.
So tell us about your experiences, ladies, because you kicked this site off. If I understand correctly from reading on it, you kind of got disillusioned with where we were headed in 2008. And so you decided that you were going to speak out a little bit and try to help correct some of the misconception of what conservative women were like. And I have to agree with you. I think, the left portrays them as a bunch of dowdy women who are, almost Amish and straight pins, holding their clothes together while simultaneously, standing there staring at pebbles on the ground. Tell us, give us a clue as to what motivated you.
Yeah, well, first off, Mock and I, we don't cook, and we're not barefoot in the kitchen, and our Republican husbands aren't oppressively holding us down. We're both dutifully employed and have jobs and families and lives, and so we're definitely, we don't fit the liberal narrative on what they feel like they want us to be, apparently. So
apparently 82,000 people agree with you on your Facebook page.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of other chicks like us, and then a lot of other dudes that like reading what we have to say. So,
Sure.
We started the site. I can't believe it's going to be almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years this February, I think, when we kicked it off. And it was right around the time of the 2008 elections, and Mock and I worked together at that time, and we would go to lunch every day, and we'd talk about the happenings of the day, and we discussed politics a lot, and so I said one day, I go, maybe other people would actually, give a hoot what we have to say, and maybe we should start a blog.
Sure.
So we did, and at first it was just like our parents reading us, and then You know, and then after...
And your mom said, oh, it's so nice, girls.
It's so lovely, girls. This is great. And then it became, you know, it just sort of took off. And I think probably in the past 2 years, that's when it's really taken off. And we've never done any marketing or anything. It's all been organic, which I think is a nice... that's really symbolic of, I think, where our country is right now. I think people are hungry for this sort of thing. And I hope we just continue to grow and people get to know more about us. Yeah.
Well, and funny story relating back to our parents being the only ones that read the site. My mom hated it when we first started it, because I think she was worried that we were being too snarky and too sarcastic and a little bit too irreverent. And so she just is not that way. So she just thought, you're going to insult people, you're going to offend people, and by golly, we do.
We do. And
yay!
We do that, and we insult liberals and conservatives, because, you know, like Mock wrote about yesterday, that one dude, I can't remember his name now, the anti-Semitic, he's a Republican.
Yeah, Mike Harris. I just played his video for our audience, by the way. I mean, I think they're still in stunned silence. So.
What a jackwagon. We don't discriminate when it comes to being snarky, but a lot of our snark, people will come to us and say, how do you find the material for this? And it's like, how do we not? I mean, look at this administration.
Right.
It's a joke every day.
Endless cannon fodder.
Endless fodder, yeah.
I mean, you know, we could feed this to our cattle in drought-stricken regions if it was just hay.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Or in Obama's case, hey.
Hey.
Oh, did I irreverently allude to his gayness? I'm sorry. Did I say that on the air? Gee, I think I did.
He's metro.
He's metro. He's a metrosexual dude.
He's cool, right?
Absolutely.
Because he wears a helmet when he rides his bike.
He observes all the helmet laws, man.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but when we started the site, it was, there was never an end of fodder, and since then we've continued to do it, and we kind of amaze ourselves sometimes because, you know, we both have full-time jobs and families, like we said, and we're really super busy and try to have lives, but we just love it so much. I mean, we just love our site, and we love more than anything the community that we've built, because there are just so many awesome people out there, like I said, that are hungry for this, and they exist, and it gives us hope, but it just shows me that the narrative that the liberal media wants to put out there is just a big pile of doo-doo. You know, they just don't. They try so hard, and some people buy into it. But you know, there are a lot of people out there, which makes me so happy. They don't buy into it, and we're kind of hopefully giving people a forum where they can voice kind of what we're voicing and feel like they belong to something, because it's really hard to find places like that out in the blogosphere and whatnot. So.
Well, you know what I've experienced with it is that if it weren't for the internet, look what we'd be stuck with.
Yeah. Oh my God. It literally is Obama-run media.
It really is. It's Obama all the time. You know, all Obama all the time.
It's like, hey, North Korea. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Even those conservative groups like Fox News. You know, and we're a Fox News affiliate, but I have no problem throwing them under the bus when they deserve it. And you know, I hear Bill O'Reilly saying, you know, I think all heavy weapons should be registered with the FBI, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I mean, you know, that's okay because you have private personal security, okay?
Yeah,
but the rest of us can't really just eat cake, all right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, don't even get me started on Feinstein.
Oh, my goodness.
What he's been doing. Oh, my God.
You know, we live in a very, very serious conservative gun-toting area. We're in the Ozarks here, you know, where we're still making jugs, okay, in the woods. I ain't kidding, girls.
Can you send some our way?
I'm sure we could. I just have to put it out to my listeners. So, but we don't want to run afoul of the ATF on the moonshine side.
That's right.
As long as you don't buy it, I think it's legal.
Oh, okay.
Just don't send us a donation. We'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, these people around here, I mean, I have to tell you, I used to be a gun dealer, and I owned a gun store.
Huh.
And I'm telling you that a lot of these people around here own more guns personally than I had on my walls.
Wow.
And, you know,
believe that, yeah.
they're deadly serious about it. I mean, if Feinstein wins her way and says, you know, you got to turn them in, I'm here to tell you that probably 85% of our population is going to be instantaneously felonious. Because, you know, and God forbid if they ever try to come and get them, I'll tell you what, it's going to be they're going to be like those, what was that group of people who went into the Roanoke Forest and never came out?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you know, this is some hardcore hillbilly territory here, and they're not going to take kindly to, you know, anybody coming in here and saying, you know what, you got to tell us your name and your phone number and tell us whether you prefer boxers or briefs, and we want your fingerprints too. It ain't going to fly.
Well, and they shouldn't take kindly to it because it's a constitutional right. Yeah. So, and that's what this administration seems to keep forgetting.
Sure. Well, you know what the real problem is it's not guns. It's the nutcases who have the guns. And if we stop,
and the nutcases are always going to have the guns.
Exactly.
They're not going to follow the rules. Hello.
Right. I mean, that's why we call them nutcases.
Exactly. And that's what's so maddening is that the left just will not rest when it comes to that. They just want so badly to do a gun grab, and it's like that is not going to solve the problem, people. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but I know that the majority of these awful, terrible, horrific massacres have occurred in gun-free or in zones where there is gun control.
Right.
Quote. And
well, and on top of that, guess what? None of these guns were bought illegally through the quote-unquote gun show loophole.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, so they keep throwing that out there as if that has some bearing or relevance to the issue, and it doesn't, because these guns weren't bought through the gun show loophole. They were bought legitimately at stores where somebody went in and filled out that form that's called a 4473. They filled that form out, they passed the check, the background check, and they obtained the gun.
Yeah.
Or they stole it from their parents if it's the case of a kid, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, and so then I've heard somebody say, well, then we ought to do something about that. I mean, look, you know, I mean, how far out do we... Have you ever noticed that the progressive group will always take the most off-the-wall scenario, like, well, what if you live on an island and you're the only one? It's like, wait a second, let's start with focusing on reality here, right?
And the thing is that you will never be able to legislate evil. You cannot legislate evil, period. And that is what they just don't, they want so badly to be able to do that because their whole lives, their whole mentality, the progressive mentality is all about legislation, you know, the government, and it won't work.
Right.
It won't work. I mean, because we all see how well it works with, you know, banning drugs in this country.
Sure.
You know, nobody can get drugs.
We
right?
banned poverty and spent $4 trillion doing it, and look at us now.
Exactly.
The numbers are exactly the same. They haven't changed by 1/110%.
And what liberals always do is search for the most restrictive measures to stop bad behavior, which is so ludicrous because good people are already not doing bad things.
Exactly.
So it doesn't deter bad people from continuing to do bad things, and I don't know why that's so hard for them to understand. Yeah. All it does is restrict our freedom.
We're going to take a quick break. You can find them on Chicks on the Right. We'll be right back.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
2012 will be remembered for a lot of things. One of them, the remarkable number of entertainers, sports figures, politicians, and newsmakers who died.
That's one small step for man.
We're Penn State. I'm proud of you folks.
I'm Mike Wallace.
JR's Golden Rules. Don't forgive and don't forget.
Hi, Dick Clark live at Times Square. Be listening for The Way They Were, a special presentation from Fox News Radio, right here.
Join the Ozarks Best News Talk for this special show at 8 a.m. on New Year's Day.
Here we go with round 2 of Hope and Change. Looking forward looks bumpy and rocky. Nobody's stimulated by high unemployment and tax increases. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance can help you be ready to face the challenges of the next 4 years. We have long-term food storage, ammunition, informational books and DVDs, water purifiers, and a whole lot more. Come see us at 3225 Highway 62 East, Suite number 3, just a half mile past Walmart in Mountain Home, or call us at 492-4030. That's Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance.
All right, we are back with Chicks on the Right because conservatism needs a makeover in a big, big way.
It truly does.
You girls are making a change every day. I love it.
We're trying because we're definitely not old, stodgy white dudes.
or dudettes, for that matter.
It's funny that we actually have some people that will come to our site. We've had several, more than a handful, which is a little alarming, but some people, liberals, they'll accuse us of not being women. We've had some people say,
"Oh, come on."
Yeah, we've had several people come out and say that we're Karl Rove operative.
Oh, brother.
and that we're guys, and that the pictures on the site and everything, it's all a big scam, and that it's a bunch of guys running this website because of the way we talk. I don't know, the way we
Which
write.
is just further proof that liberals don't really believe in equality, because for them to make that assumption that because we're writing in a certain way, well, then we can't possibly be women.
Right. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
This from the group that demands tolerance of everybody.
Oh my God, they're the most intolerant.
They remind me of the Islamics, where they say, everybody has to provide tolerance for us until they're in the majority, and then suddenly there's no tolerance for anything of their position.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
I got a son over in Afghanistan,
Oh,
and and I constantly hear, these stories that'll just, make you quake in your boots about how they treat their own people over there,
Oh my God.
And the principle, of course, in Europe right now, as they're flooding into Europe and taking over their legislatures and basically their national governments, is that you have to provide excessive amounts of tolerance for us because, freedom of religion and freedom of speech and all those types of things. But as soon as they get into power, they turn it around and say, well, freedom of speech was great when we needed it, but now that you need it,
Yeah.
Well, which is the country that's doing a really good job fighting? It's like Sweden or something.
Yes.
They have just had enough already.
Yeah. Well,
and so they're actually creating some new legislation and some new laws saying, look, you got to assimilate. If you're going to come here, you need to do stuff our way. And I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the basis by which immigration has worked in every nation throughout all of known history. When you went there, you learn the language, you get a job, and because you went there to improve if you didn't go there with the idea of improving your life, I don't know why you went.
Yeah. Mock did a post the other day, which was just awesome. Her parents, because she's a first generation. You tell her. I'll say it wrong.
Well, so I'm a first generation American. So my parents immigrated here from Poland in the late '60s, and so they have just a huge appreciation coming from what was a communist country at the time.
Sure.
And so they've just got a really, really unique and interesting story to tell. And so listening to people like them who just really get what it means to be an American and who really appreciate everything that the country has given them and all the potential that it has. I mean, it's heartbreaking to watch them watch what's happening to our country now, because they're the ones who really get it. I mean, a lot of times people who are born here just take so much for granted, and it's just a huge lesson, because they've seen exactly where we're headed, and so
they left there.
Yeah, exactly. And what a concept. Her parents came over and legally became citizens. They worked their butts off to become citizens. I think her dad went to Cornell and got a PhD, and his. And I think on the test, I remember reading something about how he had to prove that he could write.
Yeah, part of becoming citizens, and this was like in 1974, they were, there were required exams and whatnot to complete, but one of the things that they had to prove is that they could write in English, and to prove that, they had to say, I live in America, or something like that.
Right.
And this is right after my dad had gotten a PhD from Cornell, so it was fairly certain that he could write.
Right.
But and be that as it may, there was still a requirement. There were still entrance tests to pass, and there was a process to go through.
And they did it, and they appreciated that they had to do it, and they did it legally. And it wasn't a you owe me mentality, which is so prevalent.
Right. It was I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah. Yes, it's like that. And you know what? And
by the way, we don't even make them prove that they can write in their own language, much less ours.
Oh yeah, we just give them free health care.
Right. In fact, we prefer that they can't write or read, because then they're going to be they're going to be sponges for government dependence.
Exactly. We're they're doing that. We saw that the other day. You were talking about that the other day, Mock, about how is it West Virginia where they're trying the kids, when they start to learn how to read, they don't want them to become literate.
Oh, in the Appalachians.
Yeah.
There was a story that I read. Actually, it was an article in the New York Times by Nick Kristof, who's, as liberal as they come.
Yeah.
And he had done some studies, I guess, about these people that just were in the hills of the Appalachian Mountains who really, that's just an incredibly poor area. And what he was seeing is that people were pulling their kids out of literacy programs because if their kids couldn't read, then they would qualify for disability payments.
Oh my goodness!
So they were literally holding their own children back for the government handout.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so Nick Kristof, and this just completely blew me away, but when Nick Kristof says, "Hey, maybe government dependency programs are having the opposite effect,"
right.
To me, I was like, "Oh my God, hallelujah! This is awesome that someone like him is getting it."
I really think he's probably just racist.
Right, maybe that's it.
He's probably just because we're all racist, so he's probably racist.
I'll tell you what, and the New York Times is the worst at that,
Oh my gosh.
They are really off the wall.
It's constant. People are starting to wake up, though. I think even more middle-of-the-road folks are starting to see that it's like, seriously, you're pulling the race card again?
Right.
Really?
Well, it's kind of like the old theory of, you remember when we were kids growing up, right? Our moms would say to us, now, let me tell you the story about the boy who cried wolf, right? And now we hear the same nonsense over so often that it's lost its impact. And they've actually defeated their own argument with that,
They really have.
Because at this point, anything you say, everything you say, if you just open your mouth, they're like, oh, that's racist.
Yeah. It's either racist or it's Bush's fault.
You're racist because you have white teeth.
Yes. You're racist. Racist.
But you know what? As much as I want to believe when you say that it's defeated their own argument, it hasn't. It's totally worked because look at the election. What they did and what they continue to do is working. I hate saying it, but it is true.
I'm convinced that they're great marketers. That's for sure.
I think that's part of it, but also you've got two guys up on a podium, one saying, hey, you have to work and take personal responsibility, and then the other guy saying, here's some free crap.
Right.
And so
exactly.
the lemmings in this country, the morons, which, let's face it, half the country doesn't pay taxes. We've got a bunch of leeches out there.
Well, the problem is that they're now voting for their own largesse out of the Treasury instead of voting for what's right for the nation, and that's the downfall of America.
Oh, eventually you're going to run out of other people's money. That's
when socialism ceases to work.
Yep, exactly.
Actually, I tell my listeners all the time, we're not heading towards socialism, and we're not heading towards communism. At the direction our country is going with all this surveillance and the DHS buying, a couple of billion rounds of ammunition and trying to take our firearms away, we are racing towards fascism at a dead sprint.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We already have corporatocracy where corporations basically run our government, and, fascism is defined by those. At some point, the sheep will rise up and start bleating about the fact that, 37% interest rates are really not in my best interest, and the government turns around and whacks them over the head like whack-a-mole and says, well, shut up because we already got paid to make this happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
So we're in trouble. And you're absolutely right. I think that there are people starting to wake up. I'm afraid, however, that we haven't shaken the bed enough or slammed the garbage can lid enough with the lead pipe to get enough of them awake that we can actually take some action. And it's kind of frightening because I don't know where that's going to head,
I think that it's going to take, it's like this whole fiscal cliff thing. I think it's going to take next year people's taxes are going to go up. And people are going to feel it. People are really going to. I know I'm going to feel it. I look at what they're going to, for people who make what my husband and I make, and what I know we're going to be taxed next year. That will be an increase, from what we've seen in recent years.
Yeah.
It's people. I think people are going to have to get hit in their pocketbooks, and maybe they just haven't felt it yet. Maybe they're not the ones who lost their jobs or haven't. They haven't quite suffered through this Obama crap over the past 4 years. And I think, I hate to say it, but I almost feel like they have to be whacked over the head with experiencing it. They have to feel the pain, which is, I think it's coming. I really do. I think it's coming.
Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. And we've exercised an enormous amount of bad judgment of late. And it's apparent that until the pain of change exceeds the pain of staying the same, we're not going to make any changes here.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate, but it's true, you know?
Very true.
So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined again by the chicks on the right. Their mantra is because conservatism needs a makeover, and I don't think a more appropriate statement could be made. You can find them on the website on their website at chicksontheright.com, and you can also find their Facebook page at facebook.com/chicksontheright. A lot of lighthearted, good banter here, but all of it truthful and all of it relevant. So thanks for joining with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu with the clock ticking down to the fiscal cliff deadline. Lawmakers trying to hash out a deal to delay the spending cuts and tax increases.
Plan C would also extend unemployment benefits for the 2 million people set to lose them at the end of this year, and it would include a small amount of spending cuts but would not touch entitlements like Medicare, and it also would not deal with the debt limit right now.
Fox's Peter Ducey. Some in the Northeast still digging out from as much as 20 inches of snow. Now they're about to get hit again.
It will be accumulating across places in Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and even parts of New England. But the good news is that this system will not be as strong as our last storm.
Fox meteorologist Maria Molina. And 2 people dead in Moscow after a passenger plane goes off the runway, breaks apart, and catches fire at Vukovo Airport, Russia's 3rd busiest airport. Fox News, we report, you decide.
It's the Big Finish of 2012 event going on now at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Check out the 2012 Chrysler Town & Country van with seating for up to 7, DVD entertainment system, and an estimated 25 miles per gallon. Or try the capable and dependable 2012 Jeep Wrangler Sport and Jeep Grand Cherokee and Dodge Durango. Be sure to check out our inventory at earlsdodgejeep.com or just come see us at North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 33. Tonight, clear skies, a low around 18 degrees. And then on Sunday tomorrow, sunny with a high near 40. And then Sunday night, we have a low around 28. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
Hey, we're back, and if you want to call in and talk to my chicks, I'm going to let you. You can call us. You can call us here at 257-1111 locally or 866-554-6636. We'll take your calls, and the chicks will be able to talk to you and maybe answer a question or two that you might have. You're welcome to do that if you'd like. Otherwise, you can just sit here and listen to our lighthearted banter.
Do you get a lot of haters that call in?
I actually don't. I mean, no, I don't. We're in a very conservative area, and I think they're just afraid to call.
Maybe we need to move there, Mock.
You get. I'll tell you what.
You live, yeah, because we get a lot of hate.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, you're in Indiana, right? So you're probably in a little bit more more urban environment or suburban environment where you get a little bit more of that. You also have a little, you got 85,000 people or 82,000 people on your Facebook page who liked you. That means that you've probably got hundreds of thousands who have seen it. I wish I could claim that kind of following.
Yeah, they hate us. Yeah, we actually, but most of the haters, most of the people that have threatened to kill us and stuff, all of the people have been outside of the state.
Yeah, thankfully.
You've actually gotten threats to kill you, huh?
Oh yeah, in fact, that's how we met our webmaster.
This has got to be a great story. I can't wait to hear this one.
I'll make it quick, but it's a great story. But we were threatened by this one guy. We've been threatened quite a bit, but this one in particular really kind of wigged us out. And so we said, we should probably call our local sheriff just in case this dude does show up on our doorstep and we have to, defend ourselves.
Sure.
So we called our local sheriffs, and we live about 50 miles apart from each other from the central part of the city, and she called her cops, I called my cops, and mine was better. I mean, they were exponentially better. So the sheriff, took care of it, and they assigned a detective, and the detective's name was Andy, and so we ended up became kind of friends with him, just talking to him on the phone about the case and whatnot, and it was over a couple of months. Turns out that he does web development and stuff on the side, and he's like, hey, he was on the back end of our site. I mean, he had to do a lot of stuff with, all sorts
tracking
of
down the
stuff.
idiot.
Yeah. He basically saw a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't get to see, and he's like, you can improve this and do this, and I'm like,
that's cool.
Yeah, and so we ended up, like, quote unquote hiring him to do some stuff on the side for us, which we, pay him pennies, but we hired him on the side, and he's been awesome and helpful. And so we always say, it's so awesomely serendipitous that we met our awesome webmaster because some guy tried to kill us. Or wanted to kill us.
I mean, that's a story that even at a cocktail lounge would go over great.
I know. So that we always say, take that, haters.
Right, exactly. Just out of curiosity, but did they ever track down the alleged killer?
Oh, that guy. Well, it ended up ended up being a kid, and he was living with his mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was one of them.
In his underwear in the basement.
Yeah, I'm sure he was he had a Cheeto-stained shirt, and he was just, angry one night that, he never got to go to the prom, so.
Right.
So he was lashing out at us. But, I mean, the things that he said were just really awful and they were just a little creepy. Really, way too much information about how he would torture us and stuff. So we were like, that's slightly inappropriate. So we reported him, but yeah, we never pressed charges or anything because we figured we could have gone to his mom. We kind of thought about it, but we just let it go and figured that maybe it was divine intervention giving us an awesome, webmaster.
And he's busy right now watching the Chainsaw Massacre for the 211th time.
Exactly.
That's his favorite movie.
In the same Cheeto-stained shirt. So
there you go. So, when you girls are on there and you get this hate mail, and I'm sure, I've read a couple of pieces of it on your posts and stuff. In fact, there was one on there just recently that I just was reading and I was blown away. The people who are writing to you this is the group that tells us that tolerance is where it's at and we should all respect each other's opinion, right?
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen. And that's why we started. There's a feature part of our website now called the Wall of Shame, because we were getting so many of these just really hateful and awful Facebook messages and emails, and we thought we're always very tempted to respond to them, and in some cases we do, and we'll have a little back and forth because they're so easy to tear down. I mean, when their argument is, you guys are prostitutes, or something.
Or you look old.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Thanks. Yeah, so we're always like, if you would like to debate an issue, please let us know. But in the meantime, we're going to feature you with your name, since you've provided it, on our Wall of Shame.
Bingo.
So now that's one of our features on the website. So we've got one place now where we can sort of collect all of our hate mail.
Yeah. You have a thing called the Chictionary.
Yeah, we've got the Chictionary. Yep.
That actually was created by readers, believe it or not. It's something that it kind of took on a life of its own, and our readers did that. And we were. I just think it's awesome. It's so fun.
It is awesome. It's because we have a lot of sort of
our own vernacular.
Yeah, I mean, we've got mockisms and daisyisms, and we use them a lot in our posts, and I think people who have followed us for a long time start to get accustomed to it and even start using those words themselves. And so for new people, they're like, what does this mean? And so, a few of our extra special readers put together a Chictionary.
The ones who appreciate the fact that sometimes we can talk like 14-year-old boys.
Right. I love the celebra feminazi.
Oh, yes. That would be, I think the number one of that would be Ashley Judd.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is what a feminist looks like.
I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
You got some pretty good ones up here.
There's some interesting ones. We have probably ones that are not appropriate for your show.
Holy Mother of Desperation refers to someone who is so desperate that they will lie, cheat,
there's a lot of Holy Mother
to get their
of
way.
And sweet. There's a lot of Holy Mother of and Sweet Mother of. We do a lot of that.
Yeah, I got you. Jip Jops, huh? Yeah. You've got some good ones up there. And, I might borrow that idea from you girls and do it. And I won't do it. I won't call it a Chictionary because, of course,
probably not good.
That's not my speed. But I will borrow that idea because I have people all the time who say to me, every time you say this, We all have those euphemisms or things that we say, right? That catch people.
And it's just it's the way that we've always talked. I mean, one of the things that Mock and I have always done is we write like we talk, and I think even our husbands, they did the guest post a couple months ago, like the only one in 4 years, and somebody asked, are they like they are on the site? And both of them were like, what you see is what you get. I mean, this is
right.
And we've always
WYSIWYG.
Yeah, exactly, total WYSIWYG. And one of the things that we've always said to each other, and maybe this is why we're not making gobs of money, is because we just have always said we will always do what we want to do. No one will tell us what to do, and we will not take advice from people that don't have our best interest in mind. And that we've had a lot of people say, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to have the site like this, you need to talk like this, you need to be more motherly and more, domestic. And we're just like, we're not those chicks. So we're just going to continue to do what we do.
Right.
And we always have stayed true to ourselves. And I think that that's been...
And what kind of a makeover would that be anyway? If you were matronly in flats with, pins in your pins holding your clothes together.
We could not agree more. It's like we both have kitchens because they came with our houses.
Right.
There was one, I got an email the other day. I felt kind of bad because it was a nice email. The woman who wrote said some very complimentary things at the beginning of it. Something like, I read your site all the time. I just am on board with your whole idea. Blah blah blah. It was very, very nice. But then in the last sentence, she said, "Now, one thing I would suggest is that you stop using terms like holy crap and OMG and WTF." And immediately my dander gets up. I mean, I get so frustrated by those kinds of comments, and so I responded to her as politely as I could, but I also made it very clear that we have not asked and we're not soliciting suggestions from our readers about how we should change our voices.
You don't get a mug for a suggestion box entry.
And we're, I think part of the reason that we've had the success we've had is because we keep it real and we don't try to, to tone down our approach or tone down the way we talk. We just write like we talk, just like Daisy said.
We are not Laura Ingraham and we are not Ann Coulter. I mean, we are just not that. We're not even Michelle Malkin. I mean, we are just goofy chicks from Indiana, we're not going to be anything else. That's just the way that we are. Otherwise, it'd be too exhausting. We do too much in our daily lives to have to fake it on a daily basis on our site.
Exactly.
That's just not why we do what we do.
I've had callers and people who have also said, they make suggestions, and which, they may, for whatever reason, think is helpful. But my response is generally this: if you don't like the way I do it, you can get your own radio show anytime you want.
Absolutely.
And you can do it, you can run it any way you like.
Yeah.
But as for me, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. You can put the hours in and not get paid for it, and we'll see how well you let it.
Yeah. Well, and particularly for the ones that are always that seem to be more offended by the language perhaps that we use, and we don't. I mean, it's not like we openly curse on the site.
Yeah, there's no F-bombs out there.
Yeah, but we're a little bit salty, and so when people seem to get offended by that, I always think there are like 85 zillion other websites out there that are very straight-laced and very serious and, news, and that's it. You don't get any of the snark.
Go lurk around on one of them.
Yeah, why come to our site at all and then try to change it? I mean, I just don't get that.
Because you're not in the mold.
Agreed. and that's the thing, is that we're trying to shatter that. We're just not we will not change who we are to fit in some kind of mold, but I know that eventually, the left will be able to look at it and go, of course this is who you are. You guys are straight-laced, you're this, you're that. No, we don't fit into a compartmentalized little box. We just don't. And, most conservatives do not. They just don't,
No, but we've got, and our knuckleheads in Congress don't help,
No, they totally don't.
I mean, they stand up there and they pontificate like they're popes in training or something, and they're also full of crap, and everybody knows it, and we can all see it.
Exactly.
And, they're lying through their teeth, and they make us look terrible, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they really do. I just wish we could get more real people in Congress. I don't know how to do that. I'm not educated enough on that to even be able to begin to say how to do it, but I will tell you that it's a regular person, anybody besides a flippin' lawyer, which is what we've got, a bunch of lawyers out there, but I mean, anybody besides that, it's like if I wanted to run for Congress, I mean, normal people just don't really have the opportunity to do that, which they should, you know? Right. They really should, because I think that we'd be a lot better off. I mean, I think that's why the Tea Party became so popular, is because they were real people, trying to make real change and trying to work from the inside out.
Yeah, but you notice even the conservatives don't want them.
No, Yeah, I mean,
You know.
and then not saying that I didn't love Mitt Romney, because at the end I really did like and respect Mitt Romney, but I think that Mitt Romney was a choice from the very beginning. I think the GOP knew exactly who they were going to pick.
Right.
And they knew it in their mind, like exactly who it was going to be, and it wasn't really like I said, don't get me wrong, I like Mitt Romney.
No, I get I know exactly what you mean, but it was almost like the guy didn't really want to run, and like it was almost like they didn't want to win.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but that's the feeling I got. Like,
it's definitely the feeling I got when he first was, the nomination. I was like, okay, why? I don't get this, I mean, I don't know. There are so many brilliant, bright GOP people out there. I just think we need to start focusing more on them.
Right.
Like the Mia Loves and the Alan West and the people like that, which, didn't win. But, I mean, those are the people that inspire us, at least, as
but you
normal.
see, right now, this whole thing is out there about how you're supposed to be so diplomatic and so, politically correct in your language and in your phraseology and all that. And you know what? I say the hell with all of that. If I think you're acting in a treasonous format, I'm going to tell the people who are listening to me, you're a traitor. You're a traitor of your oath of office. You're a traitor of the oath of the people you represent. And if you don't like that, tough.
Yeah, we totally agree, and we have people that say, you guys are so mean, you shouldn't do this. I really don't care.
We need some mean people to hold these people accountable, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we pay them. They work for us.
Right.
Try
and convince them of that, though.
Obama works for me.
I drew an analogy this morning because I'm on from 6 o'clock, and I drew an analogy this morning that we're like the elephant keeper. Right? And we're standing here in sandals and shorts, and we've got this little, tiny whip that we're trying to keep this 85,000-pound elephant in play. And finally, he turns around and he says, you know what? I'm this big, giant guy, and I am sick and tired of listening to you. And he just basically boots us out of the way, and we know that he could crush us. We've lost control at this point. We've lost control of the elephant. And it has nothing to do with whether they're GOP or the jackasses of the Democrats.
Yeah.
But it does have everything to do with the fact that we have lost control.
Absolutely, without question.
I don't know how we get it back.
Well, I think everybody was, everybody on our side was looking for a strong voice in the last election. I mean, that's why everybody loved Reagan.
Right.
Because Reagan did not take crap.
No, he didn't. But, Mitt was so milquetoast, you had to sit there. I even watched him mince across stage. He didn't have a swagger walk of any kind. There was just something about, he took these little mincing steps, like he was a little pup.
He was nice. He's a nice man. And and honestly, I think in real life, he probably is just a genuinely super nice guy.
Agreed. But we need somebody to get in there.
Agreed.
And I tell my listeners all the time, we need citizen legislators who are going to get in there, jump inside the dragon's belly, and start slashing at the beast from the inside.
Yep.
But I think that was part of Chris Christie has been disappointing to a lot of conservatives in a lot of different ways, particularly recently. But that was and is, I think, his appeal.
Absolutely. A plain-talking, straight-shooting son of a gun, right?
And that is what we need more of, is that kind of attitude and that kind of just...
Boy, but look at how they toss him under the bus.
I know! See, that's the thing, is we need less whining from our party about, well, he's a rhino.
We've got to take a break. We'll be right back.
The ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
Yeah, salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, bubble ball Thursday, water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday, let's move Monday, Father's next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov. A message from USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Cooper, and join me with Cooper and Company weekday mornings from 6 to 8 a.m. From politics to religion, entertainment to history, and the latest in sport. Not to mention the nonsense that goes on every weekday morning from 6 to 8, live with Cooper and Company. Go to Facebook and like our page at facebook.com/My1071 The Point, where you can stay connected with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the Ozarks Best News Talk, 1071 The Point, home of Cooper and Company.
All right, so we're getting close to the top of our hour, folks. I don't want to drag our music out or anything. I'm just going to cut right to the chase and get our girls back on here. Apparently, we've got a caller who would like to ask something of our ladies. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I admire what those ladies are doing. They got 100% of my respect. I just have a little question. Of course, I've called in before, and and also talked with you before. And,
sure.
And admire everything you're doing. But okay, you mentioned something about an oath of office just a few minutes ago. So when Obama appoints Joe Biden to be head of a task force to make more gun laws, or in general, to do everything he can to take our firearms, did he not take an oath of office to defend the Constitution?
I don't think he remembers that.
No, Uncle Joey,
I don't even know if he can read. But anyhow, that's my opinion. But the thing is I don't know why the Republican Party or even the Democratic Party that would stand in our defense on our constitutional rights, I haven't heard of anyone standing up against what he is doing to take away our rights when he's going 100% against the Constitution, our beliefs, and what our forefathers intended for us to have was to have our firearm, and nothing is being done against what he's doing, and it's being done at the taxpayer expense.
Well, I think stuff is being done, like Mike Evans on the radio, or like Chicks on the Right talking about it on our website, and all of the other conservative bloggers who are trying to get the messaging out there. So, I mean, it's all we know how to do is just to speak out. And we have to count on unfortunately, we have to count on the representatives that we've elected to do the job for us. And so, we just have to hold on to the hope that bills like Feinstein is going to bring to the floor are going to be shot down because they're ridiculous.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. And we would hope that the underlying narrative that the left wants you to believe, that the Constitution is outdated, that we all, will rise up and say, no, that is not the case. And it's kind of like I heard somebody say the other day, it's not called a bill of need, it's a bill of rights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you don't need that kind of gun, but you can have this kind of gun. No, I have the right to bear arms.
What part of shall not be infringed are we forgetting about here?
Exactly. And so we like to, I don't know if this answers your question, but yeah, we are doing what we need to do to at least get people to even see details of like what's in Feinstein's bill. We want to make sure that people can see it and see the details and be educated about that kind of stuff. And we do it in kind of a snarky way, obviously, but we get it out there so people can see what this madness is,
But this caller's point is well taken, and that is that we can only do what we are doing. Chicks on the Right and Mike on the radio, we can only do what we're doing. But it's up to the general populace to stand up and say, we've had enough.
Yeah.
So... Hey, listen, thanks for the call, caller. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It really comes down to the fact that people have to grab the bull by the horns, no pun intended, and say, you know what, we've got to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
And all we can do, we can kind of lead them to water, but we can't make them drink, right?
Yeah. So. And I hope more people do that, but we do get worried. There are times where, Mike and I, we just kind of put our hands up and go, oh my God, are people not paying attention? Like, if you look at the last election, what were people thinking?
Right. There's a country song out there. What were you thinking?
Seriously, what are these people thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Well, I think what they were thinking was, if I vote for this guy, I get lots more free crap.
That's true. You're right. Absolutely. And that is a cancer. That is the true cancer of our society.
It is, and that's a good word for it. And we have to figure out how we can excise that with an X-Acto knife.
Exactly.
And basically toss it out, along with all the other trash in our society.
Yep.
And, I agree. This is not just an issue related. They want to make it about guns, but it's about mental illness. It is about the breakdown of our society, which our government has been promoting and pushing for us for decades now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's about the loss of innocence of our children who aren't allowed to be children anymore. They got to grow up, and you know, we got 5 and 6 year old girls who are being taught that it's okay to act in a beauty pageant and wear a padded bra at 5 or 6. I mean, there's something wrong with that, right?
There's totally something wrong with that.
You know, I mean, to me, I saw a post on here, I think it was from you, Mock, that said, I remember when MTV actually played music.
That was me. And they didn't teach our daughters to be vapid tramps. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, and I remember when it came out, my parents were like, oh no, this can't be good.
Well, they don't play music anymore. It really is.
No, they don't.
And the stuff that they have on there, I mean, it's just, oh my God.
It is absolute garbage, you know, and I constantly tell my audience, listen, if you are listening to this show and you disagree with the principles and the purpose for which we're here, go find Kim Kardashian and check out whatever lingerie she's wearing today, because you're listening to the wrong dude.
Exactly. And that's what we are. We are a culture. We are a Kardashian culture, and it's scary.
Who is famous for only being famous.
Yeah.
And being a whore, but whatever, you know.
That too. I was told I couldn't say that word on the air.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mock told me I couldn't say that before we got on.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the FCC told you weren't allowed to say that, because then I was going to start cringing.
She's sort of like my mom sometimes. She tells me what I can and cannot say.
I got you.
So.
Okay, well, I said it for you.
Okay, good. Fantastic.
Kim Kardashian's a whore.
Kim Kardashian. Awesome.
If you would like, I'd repeat it again. I have absolutely no problem being completely anti and un-PC. And my audience actually kind of likes that. So, you know, that's, I think, what makes this show an attraction for them.
Yeah, we do too. We are definitely not PC.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we need more girls like you going out there and showing America what, you know, Americans are really all about, right? And we're not all about this stodgy, dry, everybody's got to have a baby whether you like it or not kind of mentality and all of this nonsense. I mean, they consistently try to portray us as these people who, you know, want to keep a thumb screw on everybody. And ultimately, it's when I said earlier that Democrats are great marketers, they consistently pinpoint everything that they want and label you with it.
Yep.
So they're the ones who are saying, you know, you've got to do this, you've got to have that. Even though when you try to, you know, their mantra is so reflective of their position, but it's all reflective on you as a negative. There's never a positive reflection coming back.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally agree.
So, hey, caller, welcome to the show. You're on with the chicks on the right.
Hey, all right. I got a comment for their ladyship here in a second, Mike.
All right.
But you open the door. When they come around and get guns, I'm going to send them away, and if they got to return, they better bring Michael Jordan Comfort Waistband, 100% cotton, Confederate gray, in large, boxer briefs.
Joe's representative of our audience, girls.
Hey, you girls keep doing what you're doing. You chicks are cool. Keep it up.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
We will never
catch
stop.
you, that's all.
That's Joe. That's Joe from Arcanistan. We call it around here.
I love it.
We actually broadcast down to Arkansas a little bit, and Joe is one of our listeners down there, and he's a stalwart patriot. I can tell you that.
I love it.
I feel bad for the guys who are going to go down there and try to disarm Joe. I can tell you.
Do not mess with Joe.
It's
They need to
gonna
make
be
that
ugly.
a reality show. Do not mess with Joe.
Don't mess with Joe. Well, listen, girls, I want to thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on the show today. I'm sure that you gave a lift to the spirits of our folks out here.
I hope that's true.
I'm grateful for it. So
Really appreciate you having us on.
Oh, you're very welcome, and you're welcome back at any time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. All right. God bless you. Have a great New Year, too.
Happy New Year.
Yes,
Bye.
you too. Bye. Okay, folks, that was Chicks on the Right. We thought we'd have a little bit of lighthearted banter here for you on today's show and change the format up a little bit. I hope you appreciated and enjoyed that. That was brought to you and sponsored by our sponsor, Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance today. You can get a hold of those folks by calling Brian at 870-492-4030, and or you can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com, 1/2 mile east of Walmart on Route 62. And also, Sponsored by Chantilly's Artisan Bakery at 255-2253. Mary's a good friend of ours, and I guarantee you she had fun with these girls today. So make sure that you visit Chantilly's and Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Also get a hold of Bill Stone if you're looking to do some quick construction, remodeling, customer new and light commercial work. He can be reached at 2930116. And our friends over at the battery station, remember today's the last day for you to get stuff down to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue, 257-7799, or batterystation.com. Hey, Jason, thanks for sponsoring our phone lines today. That helped the girls call in. We appreciate you over at Wits End Classic Barbershop. You folks have a great day. I appreciate the opportunity to share on my morning with you, and I'm grateful that you are good listeners. Have a wonderful New Year holiday, and we'll see you on Monday, and we'll be back then at 8 a.m. Have a wonderful day. God bless you all.
.107.1 The Point, KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. Congressional leaders and their aides are trying to crash out a plan to stop tax hikes for everyone from taking effect if there's no deal on deficit reduction by the end of the year. New Year's Day is Tuesday. There was a meeting at the White House yesterday. The